All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Book Graveyard Vintage Genre Fiction channel here on YouTube. We're also out there in the podcast world. Today I have a very special guest, actor and book collector, Mr. Paul Giamatti. Paul, welcome to the Book Graveyard.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
I'm very excited to talk some books, some book collecting with you.
Yeah.
You are
as I was saying to you off air, I do want to make sure to emphasize that I'm not an expert in anything, and I'm not even an expert collector. I'm more of a hoarder of books, but there's things I like and stuff like that. But I'm ignorant about a lot of the specifics of stuff about this, so I'm going to defer to you often.
Well, I was going to say you're in the right place. You're in the right place, brother. We're not experts either. We just started this for fun. I just kind of found this stuff, and I just wanted to share my journey of discovering it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I thought that we would talk about like your history with reading as a hobby, and then how it became turning into being a collector. And then I thought it would be fun if we went through each of the different genres, like one by one, and you talk about your favorites.
Okay, cool. That sounds great.
So your origin story, like was there a specific person that turned you on to reading, or was this something that was more organic?
I grew up, my parents were teachers. Everybody was teachers in my family. My grandparents were teachers. Everybody was teachers. So it was a place where there were books around, and the way I was brought up, there were kind of books around. So, I would probably credit my parents to some extent. They encouraged us to read and would get us books and stuff like that. So I think probably, in some ways, I think my mother when I was a kid more than my father. And then as I got older and started getting into more stuff, as we'll talk about, my father became more of a guy that could kind of turn me on to books and stuff. I had a sister too, who also was very helped me out with genre stuff as I went along. But my mother she was very into when I was a kid, she was into Edgar Allan Poe and stuff like that. Not that I could read those stories. I couldn't, but I got the gist of them. She would tell me the plots of those things. She would tell me the plot of The Mask of the Red Death and stuff like that, which I just thought was great. So probably my mother was probably the one who got me interested in weird stuff.
What were some of the other books that were around the house?
Oh, there was a lot of, my dad was a kind of he taught medieval stuff. So there was a lot of King Arthur kind of stuff around. So there was that sort of in the air too. And my mother was really into Dickens and stuff like that. And she taught that kind of thing in high school. So there was stuff like that around, so there was a lot of English stuff, which is probably why when I started getting into stuff, I was really into Arthur Conan Doyle and Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that. So it was an early big thing for me, and probably the gateway drug to all of this other stuff was probably Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So there was a lot of British stuff around, and the Arthur stuff, the King Arthur stuff, I think led me to Tolkien and stuff like that when I was a kid too. Yeah. So it was just around. No, I can tell. It's I can remember, it's like I say, I had a sister too who used to give me Ray Bradbury stuff when I was a kid. So I was reading The October Country, and she was really into that stuff, and she would read this stuff and pass it on to me. And I remember reading Fahrenheit 451 and the Martian Chronicles, and this fifth or sixth grade. Was when I probably started really reading on my own in a way that was I started finding stuff on my own. And like I say, Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that. And when I was probably about 13 years old, there was on PBS 1980, there was an adaptation of Lathe of Heaven, the Ursula K. Le Guin. Do you know that book?
No, I do not.
Oh man. And this is one of the oldest books I probably still have that I got as a kid.
Oh, wow.
And this is, I don't have a lot of books that I had as a kid, but this And there was a great TV show. You should read it. It's like a kind of precursor. Well, not precursor. It's her imitation of like a Philip K. Dick novel or something. But anyway, I saw that on TV, and it's kind of a famous thing. A lot of guys my age. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 48.
Yeah, so I'm about 10, 11 years older than you. Guys my age, this PBS version of Lathe of Heaven was a big thing for science fiction nerds. Like a lot of these people saw it, and it really turned them on to stuff like that. And so that started my kind of interest in. I was about 12 or so. I started getting into sort of science fiction, which I read on my own because I didn't know anybody else that read science fiction. And my parents didn't read science fiction and stuff like that. And so I started getting off into that. And there was a lot of other stuff going on. I got into H.P. Lovecraft. There was a kind of revival of H.P. Lovecraft around that. And all of those guys, H.P. Lovecraft and those kinds of guys, I got really into too.
Like the Weird Tales guys?
Weird Tales guys, and like Clark Ashton Smith and all those kinds of guys. And yeah, there was a lot of stuff going into the hopper. For some reason, I got really into Sax Rohmer when I was a kid, the Fu Manchu books, which, they're insanely racist and they're horrible, but they're actually kind of great. I mean, they're way better than they have any right to be. They're like, and so I got really into stuff like that. And, then the James Bond books, and there was all kinds of stuff like that. And, so that's all around really when my head explodes with this stuff. I'm around 12 or 13.
Wow, that's really early.
Is it? I came into other stuff a little bit, but I was doing a lot of this on my own. It was like I was just finding this stuff on my own. I spent a lot of time, even as a kid, going into like used bookstores. I grew up in a university town, New Haven, Connecticut, and there were a lot of like used bookstores. And so comic books and stuff too. I was reading comic books and stuff like that too. So
so this is something that just like was calling your name right away then.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was. And a lot of it came through movies too. Like I said, that Lathe of Heaven thing, or seeing the Fu Manchu movies with Christopher Lee. There were a bunch of these they weren't Hammer movies, but they were like Hammer movies.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of the company was that made them, but they were sort of like Hammer movies. And a lot of that stuff led to and Hammer movies, the kind of weird versions of like H.P. Lovecraft and stuff, and Vincent Price movies and stuff like that led to a lot of this stuff too. But also I was really into like the Dirty Dozen and Where Eagles Dare. And see, at the same time I was reading Alistair MacLean all the time. So I was reading Alistair MacLean, and I was reading all of that kind of stuff. Hammond Innes, do you know Hammond Innes? And like
I know him, but I haven't read it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I loved that stuff too. The kind of adventure novel kind of thing.
Yeah, that's something that's newer to me that I don't really know that much. Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah, like I've really been into going back and look at the adventure, the pulp adventure, like the actual magazines.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah. I loved the Doc Savage books when I was a kid. I got hooked onto the Doc Savage books, and I read a lot of those. I read a lot of Edgar Rice Burroughs. The Tarzan books I was really into. Again, like this was all stuff I was finding on my own. I didn't know anybody else that read this stuff. And I think to some extent, I was also getting off on the fact that I had found this thing nobody else was reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is cool. This is just my thing that I can get into. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Did you happen to play Dungeons and Dragons at all?
I didn't really. I mean, I knew guys who played. I for a little while I played something called Top Secret, which was the James Bond spy game, role-playing game.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I did that. Yeah, because I
had one of those.
But I knew. Yeah, and that was great. I was really into that because I was more. I wasn't super into fantasy stuff, and I still am not. And it's like I enjoy it, but I don't love it. Like fantasy, the fantasy for me that I like is more like the H.P. Lovecraft kind of thing, which isn't really fantasy, but it's like that's closer to the fantasy. I was never super into Did you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, that was my gateway into reading.
Yeah.
Into reading.
That's cool. Oh, really? And so that turns you on to like what kinds of things?
That led to the Dragonlance stuff, and then and then like the Hobbit, like the old cartoon.
Oh yeah, that's a great cartoon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's a great cartoon. that Orson Bean or somebody like that doing the voice. That's a great cartoon. Wow.
Yeah, and then gradually, Lovecraft and stuff came in.
Yeah.
I think I enjoyed Stephen King, and then you would say, what's more horror? And then the next biggest name is Lovecraft.
Right. I like Stephen King too, and Peter Straub. I kind of liked some of that stuff, and Dean Koontz. I liked some of that stuff, but Stephen King, I definitely also was really into. Yeah. Did you ever read like William Hope Hodgson and that stuff?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh, you got to read the House on the Borderland is great. There's one called The Nightland that's like 7,000 pages long, and it sort of takes a while, but it's got some really cool stuff in it.
I saw some reviews of The Nightland, of which they said it was very difficult, and in fact that it got kind of redone and republished in an easier way to enjoy the book.
Yeah. I think there's a kind of a long prologue part, and then kind of it takes a long time to get into the cool part of it. Yeah. But it's really weird. It's super, super weird.
Yeah, The House on the Borderlands is very popular with my friends. Yeah.
Have you read The King in Yellow? Have you ever read that?
Oh man. My wife bought me that book like last year, and it's been sitting on my nightstand, and she'll bring it up once in a while.
It's so weird. That stuff to me is like that stuff is so weird. It's like I don't know what was going on in the world at that point, that all this weird shit was going on with these guys, but they were writing strange stuff then.
Yeah, and it was
another guy that was a big deal to me too was H.G. Wells. I should say that too, was H.G. Wells.
Maybe it was it was like a whole group of them too that started writing that weird stuff in that era.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like the First World War or something drove everybody crazy or something. I don't know, but like it's weird shit.
Yeah, maybe maybe it was because that the genre fiction was more accessible to people. Like it wasn't like it used to be like only the rich people got the hardcovers, and the books were kind of made for them. And then here's these guys who probably had day jobs who were like, write this crazy stuff.
Just write this crazy stuff.
And it got published because it was new. The pulp was new. And then out in the world it went.
There was just tons. There was lots of room for it. They needed stuff to fill content, I suppose. These guys would write for like a penny a word, so they'd just write the hell out of themselves. Some of these guys would just write like thousands of stories. These guys that they're not even sure how much some of these guys write.
Oh yeah.
And there's very obscure guys that I haven't read much of who are like giants of this thing that nobody really reads anymore either, too, right? I mean, guys who wrote hundreds and hundreds of stories, and I don't know how good any of it is, or even worth reading. Some of it. But I saw you said a comment about something. I saw you say something somewhere that like somebody said, "Oh, I showed you that crazy biker magazine, the biker book that I saw."
The Whitlatch?
Yes, the Whitlatch. And you said that you read somebody said it was bad, and you were like, "But bad, there it is, Whitlatch." Look at that cover, man. It's fantastic.
Yeah, this is why I don't read all that classic stuff. All that classic stuff you just said. This is the reason that I don't read all that classic stuff.
No. But the thing is, and this was why I was bummed out that I'm not in New York, because it's like there's all of that stuff that I have like that is back there. And again, at the same time, but I think I didn't get to that stuff and actually till I was a little older. Actually, is when I started reading that stuff. Is when I was like, oh, there's actually really like good crappy stuff with like kind of hot chicks in it and like guys getting their heads blown off, and I should read that stuff. And so I think I got into that stuff a little bit later.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is like it depends on who says it's good or bad.
Exactly. Depends on your definition of bad. Totally. Yeah. But that stuff is great. That stuff is great too. You were remembering, I was reminding you that I had the whole series that I refound of these war books. What the hell? Like 2 different series of these really crappy. They were great. They were better written than you would think. I can't remember the guy's name. You were reminding me.
What year was it?
They're sort of like they were kind of.
Was it the Rat Bastards?
Rat Bastards. Rat Bastards was one of them. that I read those. And there was another one, The Sergeant, I think they were called. I think that was the series. And it was, again, it was just this badass guy who was, and they're just insanely violent and like lots of just, you know, secret missions behind enemy lines and fucking killing guys in Russia and stuff like that. And so it was, those were good too. I liked those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It's great. It's great stuff. Totally.
And now I'll never get to the King in Yellow because I just keep it.
Right. Well, that's the problem, right? Is it's like you're always like, oh no, I gotta read this, and then you get hung up on that. Did you ever see I was thinking that there was a guy named Lou Cameron. Did you ever read anything by him? He wrote this great cop novel called Barca that's like really violent. And but he wrote these crazy kind of porny, pulpy westerns called the Long Arm series. I think.
Oh yes.
Yeah. I read those. I read a bunch of those. I found a bunch of those. See, this is what I'm saying. I'm bummed I don't have those. I have them back in New York. But I remember wasting time reading those when I was probably in my 30s.
Yeah, you know? The adult westerns.
Yes, adult westerns. Long Arm.
Yeah, there's some really funny ones. That's funny because when I was doing the Western section for later on, I was like, I haven't really read a lot of Westerns. And I was like, all you read is these adult Westerns. And I can't
those like porny Westerns. And there's like, for some reason, that was a thing. It seems like that it was like, yeah, I know what will make porny. We'll make Westerns. Guys love Westerns and guys love porn. So we'll just make porny Westerns, I guess.
It's genius. I mean, if you think about it.
It is genius. It is.
So what are like some of the aspects of reading that you like best?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, it's like, wow. Because it's such, I mean, man, I love doing it practically more than anything else. I think one of the things that's amazing to me with reading is that it's like, you know, people talk about music is so like evocative and stuff and emotions and stuff. I always feel like a really good piece of writing and reading, it's just like a sense around movie, like every aspect of it. I don't know. It sounds so stupid to say, but kind of the magic of it all just happening in my head. It's just the privacy of it. The like, I don't know. It's like just the escape, I suppose. The like, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I'm an actor, and it's like, and I often feel like it's almost the best tool to get my imagination going, better than watching a movie or listening. Music is kind of good too, but it gets everything going, you know, all my senses going. I don't know. When it works. And, you know, it's like, which, you know, as we're sitting here saying, there's a lot of things that work for me. You know, it's like long arm works. Long arm works just as well as, you know, Clark Ashton Smith or something, you know, and it's like, yeah, when it really works, it's like, I don't know. It just opens everything up. It's the best. It's the best thing. I love it. You know, I get a little bit crazy if I can't read. Like I have to read every day. At some point I have to sit with a book and look at it. I go kind of nuts if I don't have a moment to read.
Yes, I agree. I read every day. I think it's like it's almost like it just takes you out of your own reality, whatever's going on in your life. It just takes you out of for a moment, and it is really like very encapsulating. Like it just takes you all in.
Yep. And I do think it makes the world more interesting too when you come out of it too. I often think like sometimes there's some writers that like when I read them, it's almost like they change the reality when I come back. They've managed to like, I start seeing the world that way. You know what I mean? Do you have that happen with you? I mean, Philip K. Dick's a great example of that to me. Whenever I realize, I don't know if you enjoy Philip K. Dick. He was a big thing for me when I discovered him.
I haven't read him yet.
Oh, you got to read some of that, man. And it's like you come out of it and you can't help but not start to see the world this way, you know. And it's like, and that's when that starts to happen, then you know you're really onto somebody kind of amazing, and they can kind of shift your reality when you come out of it. Oh, you got to read Phil Dick. He's amazing.
Yeah, that's another thing, another author that my friends actually really like to talk about.
Yeah.
I think I like the more of the stuff where it shows like morality. It makes you kind of question like the morality of people, and I like when there's very gray aspects, and it shows you like from their point of view and what makes them do the things they do. And I think that's the kind of stories that kind of that I take into the real world, I think.
I agree. Yeah, totally. And that's amazing. You know, it's like it mainlines things into you more directly, I think, you know, than other things.
And I think it's also the concentrating on, words on a paper. Like you're not there's you don't see the room around you. It's very like this thing that's close, and I think that's one of the reasons that it really pulls you in so much.
It pulls you in. I also, it's like, again, like I'm an actor and I had wanted to do visual art stuff. Like I thought about doing that, and all these different art forms are amazing. But to me, writing is the most amazing one because I'm like, what is it? It's just these little black marks on a piece of paper, and it can completely change everything. To me, it's more amazing. Like there's nothing there really. It's just words. You know, it's like, it's just crazy how powerful it is. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yes, it is. All right. So I thought we would talk about a little bit about collecting.
Okay.
Being a book collector. I'm one, you're one. You can see all this crap laying around me.
Yeah. I mean,
your house looks like back home.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, in this room right now, I mean, I can briefly just show you, like I got a bunch of books here, but I've moved into this place recently and the books are piled up all over the place. I still have to get some bookshelves and they're all over the house. And it's like crazy. My apartment is ridiculous. It's like thousands and thousands of books. And most of them are genre things. Most of what I have is genre stuff.
I knew it. I knew all along you were one of us.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Collecting. No, you mean like, did I start collecting as a kid?
Or yeah, when did you go from just reading the books and throwing them aside to being like, oh, these are my precious, I'm going to keep these, put them on a shelf?
I think probably actually pretty early on, I think. I mean, it was like when I can remember the first time I got myself a book. I remembered I'd saved up $10 and I was probably, I don't know, in 7th grade or something like that. And I bought myself a complete Sherlock Holmes and this like 1-volume thing, and it cost $9. And I was so psyched I had the money to get myself. And I think even when I was a kid, I was definitely into the books, like even as like objects, I was into the books. You know what I mean? So I guess in a way I was a collector. Like I say, I feel like more of a hoarder than a collector. I feel like collector's too nice a word for what I do, which is I just kind of like hoard them. And I do, you know, I spent a lot of time and have still spent a lot of time going to used bookstores and kind of combing through them. And I guess, you know, yeah, I guess I was kind of a collector, you know, and so much of how I found and still find books was just going. I mean, I think I see you doing this. It's like you go and you're just like, oh, this looks cool. Or, you know, this is a funny title. This is a great cover. This is a kind of a cool thing. It's like, all right. And I may or may not ever get to it and read it, you know, and but a lot of it's that, and you know, and then I would start to get interested in somebody, just you know, by. So I guess I started when all of that to say, I guess I was actually doing it even when I was a kid. I was keeping the books, and they were kind of precious things to have. But like I say, I don't have a lot of them. Like I say, this is about it. I think that's like one of the only ones I still have.
Yeah.
But I did sort of get like into like, ooh, I want to get more of these, like these Daw books.
The Daws, yeah.
I love these, and I have tons of these. But again, I don't have a lot of the ones. He's great too. I don't have a lot of the ones that, but I would start to get like, ooh, these are cool. So I guess that's a collector's instinct. I'd start to go, oh, I want those.
I want all of those. Yes.
Yeah. Even if they're not even necessarily, it's not anything I'm ever going to read. Like I have a shit ton of this Michael Moorcock, which I like him, but I haven't read the fantasy ones. I've read the more weird kind of like, you know, the Jerry Cornelius. Those. Have you ever read any of those? Have you read the Elric books? The like. Those I haven't read much, but I have them, and they're
Yeah.
fantasy novels, and they're in these editions. So it's like, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been talked about many times on YouTube here, and I don't know, it just does not sound appealing to me. Every time someone is like, even though they're like, it's so amazing, it's so great,
Yeah.
and then they're like, he's this sad, moody guy who doesn't want a Conan, and you're just like, I don't want to read this.
Why am I going to read that?
Yeah.
No, it's true. And that's the thing that was always funny to me. I don't know if you felt like this or still feel like this, is that it's like sometimes I would get something that looked so cool, and it was always my imagination of what it was going to be like was so much better than the book.
Oh yeah.
It was like that. It was almost like better for me to just imagine what the story was going to be like off of the cover and the title than it was the actual book. In fact.
Yeah, they were really smart with their marketing back then when they had the painted artists, just like the Whitlatch. How are you going to
look at that. How could that not be amazing? And it very easily could not be great.
Yes, yeah, right.
But it looks fantastic. No, those covers like that are great. Those like series things, all those like, Executioner and the Destroyer and all those things. The covers of those things are great.
Yes. Yes, they are. I have Bob Larkin, one of the illustrators from back then. He's in my Facebook group, and I've been trying to get him to come on and chat with me. I'm like, come on.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. He'll like
That's
talk to me in comments, but I can't get him to.
Yeah.
Do you have, speaking of the artists, do you have like favorite artists for the?
Well, see, this is where I'm like, there's people that I know when I see it, I like it, but I don't know the names of a lot of these people. There's certain ones I was like, I tried to find stuff that I had up here. There's some of those ones that I love there's a British guy, does all those kind of really great spaceship ones. Let me see if I have some examples of stuff like that. So the kind of thing I was talking about. Fred Saberhagen, like these kinds of guys. This guy, and I don't know if this is the guy, but there's a guy like this who does these kinds of spaceship things that I really like. Can't remember his name. He's a British guy. But stuff like that. Yeah. So that's the limits of my kind of like collector knowledge.
Yeah, I think my favorites are probably the hard boiled era, all the like the Fossil Metal, the crime guys, the Robert McGinnis, and those covers are just
those are great. I'll show you something. Here's a particular kind of this I had, and I don't know who this guy is. I know nothing about it, but I'm really into these. Do you know this? Ross McDonald?
The Lou Archer series.
Yeah, that's great. These particular editions, I'm completely obsessed with. And like I think all of them, and I have multiple copies of them because some are in better shape. And like, I'm obsessed with these, and I'm obsessed with the drawings, and it's like the actual paintings on them. I really love. I don't know who this is. I have no idea.
Oh man, that might be.
And he might be. If it looks like it says Mitchell or something. Mitchell Hooks. This is Mitchell Hooks. I don't know, but I love these editions of these things, and like the font and everything on these. And so it's like I collect these. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
How many? Like I have like multiple editions of this same edition.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 of these because they're somewhere in better shape. I mean, it's insane. Why am I doing that?
Yeah. You gotta have the best condition. All my double.
It's got to be in really good condition. Why? Does it matter? I mean, it does matter in a way.
That's good. That's one of my questions here. Does the condition matter?
I think so. But what's funny is sometimes I don't mind it if it's really beat up. It feels like it's okay. Like those crappy, if I was reading the Rat Bastards, I'm okay if that's really beat up. I mean, that doesn't need to be in really good shape. It almost shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Although it'd be nice to have it in good shape. I do think the interesting thing is that sometimes it makes a difference. Like I like to read these books in these editions. When I read it in other editions, it's like it's not the same book. Do you find that happens?
Yes. Why is that?
What is that? It's almost like this. First of all, I like pocket. I don't like anything bigger than a pocket. I don't like hardbacks either. So it's like I like a pocket size. But what is the weirdness of like somehow this makes a difference to the reading experience?
I don't know. Maybe it just sets you up mentally.
Yeah, it's really funny how if I read a different edition, it's not the same. Like I just don't like it as much. Somehow the book is suddenly not as good.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is really, really weird.
I've seen people online be like, I don't care about the cover. Like, you're an idiot.
I'm like, how can you not care about? Yeah, and I see people reading these kind of shitty editions and think, also really beating the book up, which even if it's in bad shape, I try not to like. I try to take good care of my books. Do you?
Oh yeah, I got them in bags. I have this whole series of like stuff in bags.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
I don't really understand like breaking the spine on the thing. I get really like, what are you doing? Yeah, like that really bums me out.
Absolutely. You mentioned to me that you're not a fan of anything after 1985.
I don't know. I mean,
was that your cutoff date?
No, I mean, I think
like, this is interesting.
I mean, it's more it's more elastic than that. But I think basically, it's just I'm not interested in anything contemporary. Really, is really what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I hardly ever read anything contemporary. It's like I just like old stuff, and I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's like even when I was a kid, though, I liked old stuff. It was like something about it feeling old. It felt, especially reading some of that weird stuff. It's like reading, Algernon Blackwood and all those guys, like, and reading that stuff. The fact that it was old made it creepier or something. If I were, you know what I mean? It was like the fact of how old it was cool. And now some of it's probably a nostalgia thing, just that I like revisiting.
I mean, it'd be nostalgia for a time you didn't live, though. I mean, same with me.
That's true. No, definitely. But even now, if I'm going back and reading stuff from the 70s, there's a certain nostalgia for my own.
Oh, because you've read it.
Because I read it, but also I was alive, and it's like it was the 70s, and this is really 70s. This cover, and it's like, so that's clearly something. I mean, the 70s for me are like really, that's it, that's the decade.
Yes, your favorite 70s.
Yeah, and it's like, because I was a kid and I was discovering a lot of this stuff, and it was all those movies and stuff. It was like you were watching all of those crime movies. It was like I was going to see Charles Bronson. I was going and seeing The White Buffalo and Mr. Majestic and shit like that. And it was like, I mean, nothing better than that stuff.
It's the toughest.
Charles Bronson, and it's like, it's great.
The 70s was the sleaziest as far as storytelling.
Sleazy. I was just talking to somebody about, especially in the movies too, it was just like, really sleazy, like really rapey, and like what is going on, like just like weird attitudes, the racist stuff, and it was all this attitude of like, it's okay to be really racist now, hey, we're free, we're liberated, and it's cool, and it's kind of cool to be like, it was weird. It was a really weird decade, really weird.
Maybe just because they everything was so produced. And then once the 60s came in, it kind of became independent.
Right.
And then it's like people started doing it. And then it was sort of like, well, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, let's really go like off the grid and see what we can get away with. Yeah. And let's get really like kind of like, we can get really dirty and weird. You were talking about Ori Hit, but he's not sort of 70s. He's earlier, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like the 50s, 60s.
Yeah. So he's like into that stuff beforehand, before it became like kind of cool and stuff like that. He's great. That stuff is great.
It is. I love it.
Really, it's bananas. It's really bananas. And
it is.
You think that guy's just sitting around, just banging that stuff out, and like, what a character, man.
He was a family man too.
Yeah, right. I'm sure, and he's banging that stuff out because he's got to support his family.
Right, softcore in the kitchen.
Yeah, totally. I sometimes have a fantasy that must have been great, but it probably was just a drag too, I mean, right?
He probably didn't get paid a lot because of who he was published by. I'm sure the Sleaze publishers weren't paying tons of money.
No.
It was just a numbers game, so he just had to constantly be typing.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it must have been, I have some sort of like fantasy that's like, oh wow, that must have been great, but it must have just been horrible. It must have been pretty horrible. Yeah. So
I can imagine. I get stuck on the computer doing work sometimes for all day, and I'm like, I don't see how people sit in this chair for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I'd go nuts.
Those guys all seem like they were kind of broken down, and it's like they're all just like boozing like crazy, and probably going through like 6 packs of cigarettes a day and
Absolutely.
just eating like greasy hamburgers.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, you're just painting the most beautiful picture right now. I feel like I'm like, that's who I want to read a book by right there. That guy right there.
I know. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. Can I ask your opinion on some of those guys? I'm just curious, like some of those classic guys like that, like Jim Thompson and stuff like that. Do you like his stuff?
I haven't read any Jim Thompson yet.
Have you read James Goodis or anything like that?
Nope.
Charles Willeford. Have you ever read any Charles Willeford? Oh, you got to read those guys. I think you'll find them interesting.
Yeah.
See, but you're really reading the crappy guys. You're really reading the like low rank guys. That's brilliant.
My problem is I do jump around a lot.
Yeah.
So like I'll be like, oh, I want to get into those old crime books. I want to get into dig deeper into the fossil gold medal and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I'll be like, I'll read one and then I jump 5 more genres. By the time I get back,
I know. I hear you. Yeah.
It's just
you're is Shark books? Is that a preferred genre of yours?
I do enjoy a good shark book.
Absolutely, man. Totally.
I know.
Totally.
I'm telling you, if you want a copy of Riptide,
I'll read Riptide.
Send you one, and we can do a video on it.
When's Riptide from? Don Cheadle. Is that what's the story with Riptide?
This was published in it's from 84. It makes the cut. It makes the cut.
That sure does. Just underneath the wire. I'll read it. Yeah, and it's like Riptide. Well, why do I know Don Cheadle too? There's something else. Really? No, I don't know Don Cheadle.
No, that's it. This is all he wrote. This is it.
That's also kind of amazing. Because is that really all he wrote, or do we think he wrote under some like other 1 million?
Nope, that's it.
Is Don dead? Is Don still around? Do we think, or is he
no?
Dead?
He's not alive now.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at him being dead.
That's cool.
So that's also kind of amazing. I think that Don Cheadle he had that book in him and he just had to get Riptide out of him. And he was like, it's out in the world now, man.
It
is.
Die. Yeah, my friend Justin just repressed it. This is the repress.
It's beautiful, actually. Yeah, that's really nice. He reprints these things?
Yeah, Fathom Press. I think you've talked to him before. He works at Forbidden Planet.
Probably.
Said that you've
in New York
before. Yeah,
I bet I probably have. Oh, that's cool. Fathom sounds like it's all going to be like sea related. Is it all just like submarine stories and fish?
When he first started, when he first started, he was doing like really old stuff that was all aquatic, and he was just doing like chapbook zines, kind of public domain stuff. So I think that's why he called it Fathom. And then he was like, well, what else can I get? And then he did like Return of the Living Dead. He got that, and then it just kind of he just keeps going and getting all these great titles. This stuff's cool. Out of print, and the originals they sell for like hundreds of dollars online.
It's kind of great that there's people. Have you seen this Valancourt Press? Have you seen these guys? They're great. And they bring stuff back that's awesome. It's like all of this kind of stuff that we're talking about. They're great. They brought a guy back, this guy John Blackburn, this British guy who wrote these he was like James Herbert kind of before James Herbert. It's better than James Herbert.
Yeah.
And it's like those are really. He's a guy. See, if I was back home, he's a guy that I started collecting original old editions of his stuff that I found. And these weird, crappy old British paperbacks with like the covers would have like the photograph of people. You know what I mean? Like the weird, like somebody's like kind of bleeding weirdly, and you know the kind of thing I'm talking about.
The New English Library ones.
Yeah, those kind of like the weird. Like I love those things and like that kind of stuff. But Valancourt is great. They bring all that stuff. And what's that? Stark House. That one that have you seen?
House,
those are great. I mean, it's great that. And I guess it's like it costs them nothing, I suppose, to just pick up these things that have fallen into the public domain.
Yeah,
every Lionel White book in the world. You ever read that guy? Yeah, and it's like you can just republish those because who the hell is going to object to you? Just
I think they get the rights when they can. Yes. All of a sudden, the government's looking into Starkhouse right now.
Just pirating all the Lionel White books.
No, I know that they look it up because they send me books, and they talk about doing the Edward S. Aarons assignment series, but his family won't license it. They don't want anything to do with it, so no one can reprint the assignment series.
That's so strange. I wonder why.
I don't know.
Wow, that's fascinating. Huh, that's so interesting. Why wouldn't you want to like? Wow, those were great. I read those. I read a bunch of those when I was a kid, and I really liked those. The Matt Helm books too. I sort of like Donald Hamilton. That guy, he wrote some good stuff. Yeah, he wrote some good stuff. I like those. Yeah.
And you know what you're talking about. Yes.
I don't know that I do. I don't know that I do. It's all coming back to me as I'm sitting here. I'm like, I'll show you something else that I used to like. These editions, I think they're called Airmont. Did you ever see these Airmont books?
No.
These were kind of great. Like, oh God, I love these. These really remind me of like being a kid. And like you had like H.G. Wells, and it was all kind of classics like this. This is a great book, actually. And but these editions I'm obsessed with. And I have like all this like Robert Louis Stevenson and all this kind of stuff. It's like kind of boys' adventure stuff they would publish in these.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it like a YA? Is it like a YA publisher?
And it wasn't, I don't think, because it's like they would have like Huckleberry Finn and stuff too. But it was all sort of like, maybe it was in a way. Maybe it was kind of aimed at sort of like teenage, like young boys and stuff like that. So it might have been. But I love those editions because those are like super nostalgic to me. And like, so it's weird. Like I'll collect those. I'll see those and I'll be like, oh God, I got to get an Airmont edition of whatever weird thing I'm probably never even going to read.
It's okay. There's people that are a little bit younger than me that go crazy for Goosebumps.
Right.
Like I just missed it, but yeah.
Yeah. R.L. Stein, that guy.
Yeah. Do you have what's your most prized book? What are your most rare?
This is something I was interested to hear what you had to say. There's one book, and again, it's a bummer I don't have it here. I have a bunch of these. You know how Harry Stephen Keeler was? Oh, you should check him out. I mean, that's not even like, I don't even know how to describe those books. I bet you have somebody who's read Harry Stephen Keeler. The Screaming Skull and all these things. He was like a crazy, weird pulp writer. And he wrote bazillions of books. And he did a lot of stuff where he would pad his books out by just like taking stuff out of the newspapers and just putting it in there and stuff like that. They would literally just lift stuff and put it in there. And they literally, it was just stories within stories just to pad the thing out. But they end up being so insane. And I have a bunch of those.
What era is that from?
Yeah, he's sort of earlier. He's like the 30s and 40s, but he wrote for a while. I thought I had some of those here. I'm sorry, man. But you'll find them. Some of those were reprinted not too long ago. And there's a weird publisher that has reprinted a lot of those. And if you've read one, you've basically read them all. You don't need to read more of them. But it's like you really should at least read one. And they're really bananas. But I wanted to ask you, I don't have it with me, but there's a guy named John Franklin Barden, and he wrote these 3 kind of weird crime novels in the 40s. They were reprinted in an omnibus edition, and every now and then they get reprinted. And one of them is called The Deadly Percheron. And I can't remember the titles of the other ones, but they're all kind of, they're in that genre of like amnesia, like, oh my God, I've lost my memory and I can't, you know what I mean? Like the weird kind of pulp thing like that. Or like the guy like discovers a manuscript that's describing how he's going to be murdered. And then it all starts happening, what's in the manuscript and like who wrote this and these kind of really weird psychological things. And they were really highly regarded. And he was an interesting writer, but he was a kind of strange, reclusive guy. So I read those when I was younger and they were really cool. I was really into them. And he wrote a book later in his life. He was very mysterious and kind of disappeared. This guy, John Franklin Barden. And he wrote a book called Purloining Tiny. And I looked for this book for years, for like decades. trying to find this book,
Yeah.
and I finally found it in England. It's a very rare book. I thought of another book too it's very rare, and I got it in England, this hardback edition of it. He's an American writer. It probably cost me a couple $100. And not only is it one of the more rare things I have, it's, I think, the weirdest book I've ever read. I think it's a crime novel, but it is so weird. It is so weird.
Like, and weird in what way?
Weird in the way of like, what is going on? Was he like crazy or drunk the entire time he wrote this? How did it even get published? Yeah. Like but you're reading and going, this is so crazy and like hard to tell. Like, is it intentionally really bad? I mean, talk about like, it's bad, but what's our definition of bad with this? Mm-hmm. It's just so weird. And you're like, he wrote it in the 70s, and was he trying to capitalize on kind of a like sex thing? Because it's kind of porny, but not really. And like, doesn't make any sense, but there's something really interesting about it. Like, I couldn't stop reading it. And so that's one of my most valued books, Purloining Tiny by John Franklin Barden. And it's like, and it cost me a lot of money, and it's the weirdest thing I've ever read. And I have one other book by a guy named David Lindsay, who was a science fiction writer. And he wrote a famous book called The Voyage to Arcturus. And he only wrote a few books, and he was sort of out of his mind, and he died sort of penniless. And his books are really strange. And I found that he wrote a book called The Witch, which is really hard to find. Yeah. And again, I found it in England, and it probably cost me a couple $100. And it's like also a weird book. So those are the two things that I have that are the most valuable books I have. But that John Franklin Barden book is really, really weird. It's like
a nightmare weird?
Yes,
or like,
yes,
like
it feels like a nightmare. It feels avant-garde, but I don't know that was the point. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's all about this woman, a girl. And she works for some magician. And they have this TV show where he tortures her basically on the air. It was written in 1978. And then she gets kidnapped by a guy who says he's her father. And he keeps her in this weird penthouse apartment with all these other women. And there's kind of weird sex and S&M stuff in it that's really kind of weird. And then he starts killing women and throwing them out the window. And like, it just gets weirder and weirder and weird. And there's a cop who shows up who's like, and it's got a kind of noir-y mystery thing to it, and because he wrote in the 40s and then he didn't write anything again until the 70s, and it's like he's trying to like adjust himself to the 70s. And it's just like, dude, this is insane. Like, there's somebody slip him some acid or something. It's really really trippy and really weird, and I don't know what's going on in it, and it kind of gets resolved in the end, but none of it makes any sense, and it's like creepy and kind of like, it's really interesting. It is like a nightmare. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I think you just made it more rare, because once this comes out, everyone's going to be looking for that thing.
But what's your most like valued book, or even though I was going to ask you, what's the weirdest or trashiest one you've ever read, and what's your most valued one?
Oh, man, I would say it's The Riptide is the craziest.
In terms of actually the book itself is just bananas.
Yeah. You're just like, what is he trying to do here? This is amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I've read like bad books that were kind of funny, but they were also like bad to read. Like, it wasn't like I'm having a great time. I'm just like, this is a disaster. Some Con Sellers like spy book or something like that. I think I think Con Sellers was like a community college English teacher. And he he just cranked out these really bad books, and they were like,
I've heard of him. I've heard of these.
They were published by like Sleaze publishers, but it wasn't sleazy. Like, it wasn't. There was no like sex or anything in it.
Right.
It was weird. It was like your action hero sitting around and like thinking about his life and being depressed about being a spy. I'm just like, why? Just kill people.
Just kill. Just do something.
Yeah.
That's a little bit what that John Franklin Barden thing was like. It was sleazy, but I can't really exactly say why. It was just like there was something really creepy about it and sort of off-putting and creepy about it.
I read a Frank Belknap Long book, and he was a Weird Tales writer, but it was like towards the end of his life. He lived for a long time. So he's like, in his 80s when he writes this werewolf book.
Yeah.
And I thought about it when you were mentioning it, like the author catching up to the 70s and making it what he thought the 70s was.
Yeah.
This werewolf book was like he went to to the movies and just saw like some gore fest, like Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Sure.
Like, I'm gonna put this intro.
That's what the kids want to read. Yeah. That's what people are reading.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah. It's funny when you see guys do that, try to like adjust their sort of thing. Speaking of werewolf books, have you ever read Darker Than You Think by Jack Williamson? That's a great werewolf novel.
No, I do have it.
Really, yeah, that's awesome. That's worth reading.
The store I bought the Darker Than You Think book at, the owner was there. It was in I think it's called the Bookery. It was in Phoenix, Arizona, downtown Phoenix. You ever been there? Not Phoenix, but in general. But
I've been to Phoenix, but I have not been to that bookstore. No.
Well, so he comments on that book. He's like, "Oh, this is a great book." And then we started talking, and he was like, I actually own an original unpublished H.P. Lovecraft manuscript.
What?
Yeah, like it was like he bought it in an auction or whatever. I'm assuming it costs a lot of money.
I would think so.
And after he bought it, one of the rights owners to Lovecraft's estate got a hold of him, and they were like, "You're not allowed to publish that just because you own that."
Weird.
And he was like, "Yeah,
it's a story, an unpublished story of H.P. Lovecraft."
Yes.
That's like huge. Wow. That's like a plot for a story or a movie or something.
Maybe it's not finished. Maybe it's really bad. I don't know.
Wow, weird. That's cool. Wow, that would be amazing. You're not a Charles Willeford fan.
I just never read any.
Yeah, I have a manuscript of an unpublished book of his that that's really crazy. And at some point somebody's bound to publish it, but it was kind of cool. I have this bound up manuscript, a thing of a book of his. That's really
Do you have other stuff like that? Do you have like original paintings for the covers or any other like?
No, I have a friend who collects stuff like that, though, who's got stuff like that. And he's got like letters. He has like some Ray Bradbury's letters.
Oh, yeah, letters. Yeah.
It's like that. A friend of mine had a letter from, Harry Whittington Yeah, he's great. Kind of like, and he had a letter from Harry Whittington that he wrote to Harry Whittington when Harry Whittington was still alive and living in Florida.
That's cool.
And he wrote back really nice. And he had a letter. That was cool. Letter from Harry Whittington. But no, I don't have stuff like that. And that's too. It's like those two books I said to you, the only two books I have that are really valuable, I think, in any way. I think in some ways I worry about having really valuable stuff because it's like I'm gonna spill grape juice on it or something. I'm gonna mess it up. It's not worth me having like something really valuable or expensive. If I have a painting, I'll probably step on it or something.
That's why they got these things
put them on the wall,
and you put them on the wall.
I have this weird thing where I don't hang things on the wall. It drives my girlfriend crazy. I lean them against the wall. She's like, "Why don't you put them up?" I don't know. It's like, it's too much work or something. I have to decide where they're going to go. So I don't know. I'm just plugging some things too, if you don't mind. Some books that I'm like, just so if your listeners are like, "Oh, that sounds cool." This is a guy I was thinking about who I really love. He was an Irish science fiction writer, and he wrote tons of these books, and they're all about a hospital in space, and they're awesome. Have you ever read these?
No, but that's crazy.
They're great, man. And it's like, it's a great cover, and it's like this kind of thing just makes me really stupidly happy. And it's like, these are really great. And I'm always I always plug this guy whenever I do something because he's not widely enough known, and they're really, really good.
What happens in a novel a hospital in space. I
can't
even
everything.
Imagine.
What are you kidding me? It's like, they get something in there that they have to operate on it, and it can only be operated on if you have some deadly gas that's being leaked into the fucking operating room. And so it's like, it's always some like crazy medical condition or disease, or somebody has to like, you have to operate in some kind of psychic animal that starts like messing with you while you're operating on it. It's like, there's a million plots that you can have.
So it's like ER meets Star Trek.
Yes. And it's the closest thing to Star Trek I've ever read or encountered outside of Star Trek. And I'm a big Star Trek fan.
I was going to say, didn't he write Star Trek novels too?
No, that's James Blish. You're thinking
James
of James Blish, I think. And it looks like these. They look like these, the Star Trek things. But yeah, he was, that's James Blish. This guy, it's like Star Trek though, but it is, yes, it's like ER in space. Yeah. So there's always some wacky disease, or there's some crazy alien, and you have to figure out how to operate on this thing, or, it's stuff like that.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it is good. They're great. They're really good.
Before we get into the genre stuff, I wanted to talk about the bookstores. I love used bookstores. I love shouting out the used bookstores. I want them to survive forever.
Yeah. No, I know. Me too. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. I mean, there's ones in the country that I still, I'm here where I am right now. I'm near New Haven, Connecticut, and there's a great used bookstore called Gray Matter in New Haven. That's really, really terrific used bookstore. And there's a sister store in Amherst, Massachusetts. Those are really great used bookstores.
And now hold on a second, because when we're talking about great, we're talking about the books that we've been talking about, right?
Yes, those are there. Yeah, yep, okay. They'll have those.
Because sometimes everyone has their own, it's very subjective. Like, there's this great bookstore in Columbus, Ohio, and I go there and it's all brand new books. So I'm like, this ain't great.
No. These are used bookstores, and it's all kinds of weird, old, pulpy stuff like we're talking about, but also really good stuff. But it's not now, and it's also like people will say that, and then you go and you're kind of like, this is all sort of like, nothing against romance novels, but it's like, it's all romance novels, and like the science fiction or something is all sort of like, this is all kind of newer stuff that's not really that great. Yeah. And I almost feel like, I don't know about you, but I can almost tell right away when I walk in a used bookstore if it's going to be any good or not.
Yes.
And it's like, like you can tell almost immediately. And it's like, these two places are good. Should I just name some of my favorite places?
Oh, please. Yeah, I know you've traveled all around. Yeah.
Yeah, there in LA, there used to be so many great bookstores and used bookstores in LA. Most of them are gone. It's really sad. There's still a fantastic used bookstore called Iliad Books. That is just, I've been going there for 30 years, and it's still there, and they're amazing, and that place is great, and it's what we're talking about, and it's all kinds of other stuff. That place is great. There's a place in Seattle called Twice Sold Tales. That's a good place in Seattle. There's not many places in New York, weirdly, anymore. Strand Books, which is fine, but it's great, but there's not so many great used bookstores. And one of the most amazing used bookstores I've ever been in the country, and I don't remember what it was called, but I was in Wyoming, and I was in this tiny town called Sheridan, Wyoming. And it was a little bookstore. And most of the time when I go to a place, one of the first things I do is try to find the used bookstores. And it's like, and I was in Wyoming just not really for any particular reason. I was kind of bumming around in Wyoming. And so I was in this town. It's a really little, real like cowboy town. And this woman had been a hospice nurse, and she retired and opened a bookstore, and it was a used bookstore. And the whole front part of it was romance novels, because she was like, this is what everybody wants to read. But she was like, if you want to see the other stuff, just go past that. It was one of the best used bookstores I've ever been in. And they had all that stuff. It had everything. It was a fantastic used bookstore. I don't remember what it was called, and I don't know if it's still there, but it was in Sheridan, Wyoming. And it was really great.
The best is when you go to the store and you ask for that stuff, and they're like, oh, that crap, it's back there. And you're like, oh, I'm getting a deal today. This is going to be awesome.
It's true. I could just I'll find everything I need. There used to be an amazing place in It's true. There used to be an amazing place in LA called Bookfellows, which was just, I mean, it was a genre used bookstore. The point to it was every genre, and it was amazing. And the most amazing thing about it, I don't know how they did it, was everything was affordable. It wasn't like insanely expensive. And it was like, I don't know how. And I used to see Ray Bradbury in there sometimes. He would go to this bookstore and
oh, you mean like the person?
No, the actual. They had some of his books too, but the person, the guy, the man himself. I'd see Ray Bradbury in there because LA is like ground zero for a lot of these guys that we're talking about. Like a lot of them live in LA. Anyway,
that's cool.
There's a really great one in London called Scoob Books, which is a really good used bookstore. That's the best one now that I know of in London.
Oh, that's interesting. The London people here on YouTube always say that there's not a lot of places there.
There aren't anymore, and it's really kind of crazy. But Scoob Books is really good, and I have a thing for the old British kinds of things, like I said, these are not. But I love these old Penguin sci-fi books, and these things, these like Sphere books and stuff that. The Dennis Wheatley. Dennis Wheatley. Yes. Love Dennis Wheatley. And so like I love those old, these kinds of things I collect. Like I collect the Dennis Wheatley library. I have like a million of these, and I don't think I've read really any of them. But they're all like weird old, stuff that's nonfiction, but also like weird old fiction and stuff like that. Horror stuff.
The Dennis Wheatley stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's not a his stuff. It's all stuff he selected. Dennis Wheatley selected these for his line, line, and it's like, so it's that thing. But the Dennis Wheatley, I have a ton of those back in New York. I have the Dennis Wheatley things, which are just the worst and really fun to read.
Why was Madame Blavatsky on the cover of that book?
It's a book about her. Oh, it's her book. She wrote it. She wrote it. So if you ever, I haven't read it. No. I've read a little bit of Madame Blavatsky, but I had a podcast for about 2 years that you should go listen to called Chinwag.
All right.
We talk about a lot of stuff like this, and it's like because I have a buddy who's into that kind of fascinated by all that stuff.
Of occult stuff? Is it an occult podcast?
It has we talk about occult stuff in it. Yeah, we talk about occult stuff in it. Yeah, but all kinds of stuff, all kinds of weird stuff.
That's awesome.
And that was a big thing for me too as a kid. Were these like Charles Berlitz, like the Bermuda Triangle, the Philadelphia Experiment, these kind of crappy UFO paperbacks, of which there were tons, and it's like crappy Loch Ness Monster books and Sasquatch books and stuff like that, of which there was a lot of that stuff. And I have a lot of that stuff. And I used to read that stuff when I was a kid, and then I started reading it again when I was an adult. And it's, it's pretty crappy stuff, but it's fun.
But great.
Yes, great. Have you gone to these things? Like I see the PulpFest, I see your shirt. And
yes, I was just about to ask you, do you know PulpFest?
I know what it is. I've never gone. It must be worth hitting.
Oh, it's so awesome.
It must be great. Have you gone to this like BoucherCon thing ever? Have you ever gone to that? That's another thing that's sort of like that. But Anthony Boucher was like an editor of a lot of this kind of stuff.
Where's that at?
I think in different places. Where's that? Is that in the same place?
This is in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh every year?
Yeah, it's coming up this year.
When?
It is. PulpFest is July 30th through August 2nd in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Well, I can't do that this year, but I would love to go to something like that. I don't. I frequently don't. I really ought to.
It's so cool. They have obviously they have lots of pulps, but they also sell paperbacks.
Yeah.
Original artwork. There's like a few comics, but they have like boxes of old fanzines of
yeah.
That the 70s version of this,
Yeah, that stuff is great. That stuff is so strange. Do you know a guy named R.A. Lafferty? Have you ever heard of him, a science fiction writer?
I just know the name.
Yeah, super weird. I just was thinking, I have a couple. These are actually sort of rare and hard to find. These weird, like stapled together, kind of like mimeographed, like little zine things of his own that he did. Really weird. Really
filled with these. He was published?
He did them on his own. Like somebody did them with him. I mean, he was being published, but then he went and made these weird little things of his own with some guy, and they're really hard to find. I wish I had one of them here, but I don't. And it's like they're really, really strange. If I can find one, I might have one here. I'll take a picture of it and send it to you.
Okay.
They're really strange, and there were these sort of self-published things that he did. They're literally like stapled together.
He did it. I wonder why he did it.
I don't know, because he was.
Do they contain like
they have articles?
Material politics?
Like,
are they like politics? Like he's just going off. They won't be published anywhere else.
No. There's like just weird essays and stuff about like science fiction and stuff. They're weird articles and stuff. I don't know. Now there's not like crazy. They're not like crazy libertarian rants or something like that. Or like no. Unfortunately, unfortunately, it's not that stuff. Yeah, but yeah. Whitlatch. So funny. I just wonder about these guys sometime, what their lives are like, as you were saying.
It's funny that you pointed that one out because my friend Bob, who runs the menspulpmags.com website, he has an article about John Whitlatch. And it was like another collector, Paul Bishop, did all this research and he found out like who he was. Because he's, they just pop up and they write all these books and then they're just gone.
Disappear. Yeah. And it's like, and it's oftentimes not their names, right? I mean, it's like, oh no. And then you find out these guys were like, fought in Korea and like, were just like these badasses. And, fucking gunboat guys in the Marines and, just like,
so many of them.
Interesting. Yeah.
So many of the authors from like the 50s were in the military, were in the wars.
Yeah. No, and it's like, it's the reason those things are what they're like, I think. I mean, they clearly just don't care anymore, these guys. They're like, just going to write whatever the hell.
Yeah.
I'm going to write and have a good time. It's interesting. It's really interesting. You got to turn me on to more of these things. You can, afterwards or later, we can communicate. I got to know more about some of these websites and stuff, because I say, so much of what I do here is just like I don't really know many other people who do it, and that's part of what I enjoy about it in a way, is that it's like it's this thing I do on my own, and it's like, so
I thought the same until I started doing this, and then it was like connecting with all these people has just been amazing. I don't know if you saw it, but I was one of my favorite men's adventure series is Hawk, and I made this Hawk video. And then Bob Dice, the guy I was talking about, was like, hey, that cover artist is this guy, right? So I looked up the cover artist, and there he was on Facebook, and I was like, I can talk to this guy.
That's awesome.
Like, that's just amazing.
Yeah, I can talk to this guy. There he is. No, it's true. And it's like, it's much easier to find people and things. But that was an interesting thing I was going to say that I can remember. I remembered feeling really happy that I found Purloining Tiny and I didn't get it on the internet, because I can remember the day that I realized, I can just go on here and find like anything I've ever been looking for in 2 seconds. And that kind of took away some of the actual fun of like discovering stuff or finding something I've been looking for forever, but it's definitely something I go to. Because I just will order, eBay is amazing to find, whatever, all kinds of things. You can find all this stuff, I could find every rat bastard book, I'm sure, in like pristine condition. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know.
I have kind of a sad story. I don't know if I'll put it in the video, but in the Men's Adventure Facebook page, there's like a fan page for people who like this stuff. And the author, Lynn Levinson, was in there. And he's like an very older gentleman. And he made this post where he told this story about how someone contacted him and they wanted to do the digital versions of this. And they were like, do you want a flat fee or do you want the licensing fee? What do they call it? The digital whatever. Yeah. And he's like, nobody cares about this. give me the $2,000 for a car.
Oh no!
And these things like blew up.
What
they were
people?
so popular digitally.
Is he? Who is he? Is he? What did he write?
The Rat Bastards.
And he's that guy, right? But he had a pseudonym, didn't he?
Yeah, for the Rat Bastards, it was, I forget what
he did a lot of different things. And he's one of those people that I'm like, way better written than you think it's going to be. Those things are way better than they have any right to be, actually. Like, he's like actually a really good writer. He's banging that stuff out, but you sit there and think, like, if he sat down and really like wrote something, maybe he would have, I don't know, but he wrote those and they're great.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, yeah.
So yeah. Sad little sideline.
Yeah, but that kind of thing you hear happening all the time in all different.
And it wasn't like they were trying to rip them off. You know, they were like, like, hey, which do you want? They didn't know that it was going to sell well digitally.
He just figured
he was like, oh, nobody wants to read,
and I need the money now. And so yeah. I don't know. You hear about stuff like that happening all the time. People not retaining the rights to their own thing, and then it's just like, you know, somebody just gets away with it.
Yeah, Starkhouse apparently.
What's that?
According to you, Starkhouse.
Well, I guess so. I don't know how this stuff works. I just figure that they're like, yeah, the hell with it. We can just, I mean, I feel like there are people who are just finding like really pulpy dime novel, dime store. I mean, I have a bunch of these. I have a collection of a bunch of these real like dime novel kind of like weird early sci-fi things that they can't possibly be any licensing thing for this.
Yeah,
it's like these kind of boys' adventure where these guys make a steam-powered robot and they're like running around in the plains, and it's like these are written in like the 1890s, and stuff, and it's like so those, you know. But again, I can't imagine these guys are making a killing republishing these things.
No.
I bought them, but it's like I don't know who the hell else. And by the way, they're kind of cool, and I can't remember the names of them right now, but they're kind of fascinating. These early sort of like sci-fi pulp, kind of pre-pulp stuff.
I think that it's a lot of these stories and that are in the pulps, that were in like the men's actual magazines, the men's adventure magazines, that, you know, who knows who it is, number one, right? And number two, if they don't republish this, if they don't just take that chance, be like, I'm just going to do it, then it's gone forever.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, it's worth it to me, you know.
Totally.
Like, and they post when they do the.
Thank God those guys are doing it.
Yeah, when they do the books, they're like, if you are the rights owners, get a hold of us.
Yeah,
like we will compensate.
Yeah, that's right. That's good. So not like I would do it, where I'd just be ripping everybody off. But you know, and then they do it, just ripping everybody off. But the Starkhouse ones are nice too. Like they do a nice job of them. They're nice books. You know, it's like they're really good, like well-made books.
Yeah, they're good. They do. Yeah, they have great taste.
Yeah,
they
really do.
That Ori Hit book that we talked about on my my group there. That's where we all got him, Starkhouse.
Yeah. That's where I got him too. I didn't know who he was before that. Yeah.
All right, so you want to? We'll go through these genres here.
Sure, we can go through these genres, and I'll see what. Yeah, in some ways, I might have to kind of see what I can dredge up from my memory. But yeah,
it's all good. I thought we would start with the mysteries and the crime.
Oh my God, man! I mean, you know, we've talked about a lot of people too. You know, who do we particularly like? I mean, but you know, I love like. There's some really basic stuff that I love, like the Rex Stout books and stuff like that are really awesome. You know, I love those things. You know Charles Williams? Have you ever read any of his stuff?
I think I have some of his books, but I don't think
he wrote kind of, a lot of his had like kind of a maritime thing to them. So he wrote Dead Calm, which was made into, I think, a couple of movies. And those are good. Those are really good. You know, like there's a lot of real basic, like I love the John D. McDonald, not just the Travis McGee things, the non-Travis McGee ones are great. Stuff like that. God, I don't know. It's like, but again, it's like I went through a whole thing of being really into, there's a whole kind of subgenre of psychic detective stuff. Algernon Blackwood wrote a series, this John Silence stories, and William Hope Hodgson wrote these Carnacki the Ghost Finder stories, and
Mhm.
I really love that stuff. Like it's like in the kind of occult detective stuff,
Mhm.
and there's a whole like subgenre of that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's great.
I pulled one out. It's in my
Oh,
Yeah, do you know the Dr. Owen Orient series, Frank Loria?
I've heard of those. I've heard of them. Are they good? That looks
Oh, yeah, it's so
that
awesome and
looks so great.
look at his hair.
Oh my God. Now what's the deal with those? When was he writing these?
These are these might be the 80s.
Um,
I don't know. But yeah, psychic Dr. Owen Orient, psychic detective.
so good. And the Seth papers. And I mean, that looks fantastic. I mean, that I now I'm sitting here going, okay, I have to get those. I have to find those. There was a guy named Seabury Quinn who wrote these Jean Le Grand Dame, these like
Mhm.
psychic that got republished in these great editions, these real like kind of pulpy things like that. But that's fantastic. Now, where'd you find that?
Where did I buy this? I think I bought that in Arizona, one of the bookstores in Phoenix.
Holy wow, that is a beautiful book. I
Yeah,
mean, that is just beautiful. Have you read it?
I have, yeah.
Is it good?
Oh man, it's
Awesome.
exactly what we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
not only is he like the psychic, the occult detective,
Yeah.
but it has all this Egyptian stuff. There's like a mummy hand, right?
Awesome.
And then there's this like I think like these fascists are trying to get a hold of it.
Of course.
And then there's like a CIA spy lady who comes in. And then halfway in the book, she takes over. She goes undercover, and then she has to like participate in these like gangbangs, these like orgies. Yeah,
okay, like, of course. Yeah, you gotta get a little. Gotta throw that in there. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
right, I gotta look those up. What was his name? Frank Loria.
Frank Loria.
Frank Loria.
It's a series. Yeah,
is that the real? Of course it is.
That's his real name. Yeah,
Loria. And was he God, amazing.
it is. It's good.
When you read about these guys, and it's just like, what characters, man. Just amazing character. All right, so that you really that's great. I gotta see if I can find those. But there was tons of that stuff. And yeah, like that kind of stuff I really liked.
What about the classic detectives? You mentioned Sherlock Holmes, like any of the stuff.
I love Sherlock Holmes, and there's a lot of that stuff. Again, now this is going back to that era. You know, I loved Sherlock Holmes, and then there's a lot of weird stuff around that time. You know, there's all these like there's the Lupin books, which is the Gentleman Thief, the Raffles books and stuff with all like gentleman thief things with guys who are like, you know, robbing from the rich and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And those are great. And there's all these things. Oh God, there's the King in Yellow is from that era too. And
that's a detective story?
No, well, some of it's a little bit like a detective story. No, but there's all these sorts of guys from that era. You want to know something that actually, I mean, is like one of the most. Somebody urged me to read recently that was absolutely amazing. Was The Phantom of the Opera? Have you ever read that?
No, my wife loves it though.
It's a bananas, that book. It's like really pulpy, like super pulpy, and really strange, really strange. But stuff like that from that era. There's a bunch of different writers like that. I'm trying to think of their names. A guy named Guy Boothby who wrote sort of like these almost kind of pre James Bondy kinds of things that had this sort of master criminal in them named Dr. Nikolai. And they're all sort of like Sax Rohmer too. There was all this kind of master criminal stuff that everybody started writing where they were the kind of main characters and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff like that that I like too. And Guy Boothby books, the Nikolai books are kind of cool. Yeah, and they're all the that then comes out in the James Bond books. There's all the sort of like, you know, the guy comes up to a trapdoor in the floor and he has like, you know, it's like all of those kinds of ideas start in these sort of older things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Paul started everything.
Yeah. And it's like all those kinds of things I love. Yeah. And like I said, the Sax Rohmer things. And the best Sax Rohmer book that I read is not a Fu Manchu book. It's called Gray Face. And that book is like one of the craziest. That's also, and it's got all the sort of like trappings of all this pulp stuff in it. It's great.
Yeah, I read one of his. Of course, I can't remember right now, but it was very Lovecraft. It felt
Yeah,
like a Lovecraft
yeah,
story.
yeah. Some of his stuff gets really weird like that, and he did a lot of like, along with the Frank Loria thing, he did a lot of Egyptian stuff. There was a whole sort of like
That was it.
vogue for like crazy mummies and Egyptian curses and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah,
So
that's
I like that stuff too. I like that stuff too.
I wish I could remember what it was called. I'll just put it up on screen afterwards.
Yeah.
You mentioned one time to me that you like the Maigret series.
Love the Maigret books. Yeah, those are great. And that writer too. The non-Maigret books too are unbelievable. I mean, and some of his stuff is really pulpy too. And like, and
Mhm.
he wrote, I think they don't even know how many stories and stuff he wrote, because he wrote under so many different pseudonyms, but he wrote some like thousands of books or something. I mean,
He
it's
wrote them
crazy.
really fast too.
Really
I think he wrote
fast.
them like in 2 or 3 days or something.
Something like that. And he'd have like a breakdown afterwards, because apparently it was just like insane. I mean, he was apparently just a complete madman in a lot of ways. I mean, he'd like claimed to have had sex with like 15,000 women or something like that.
Yeah,
And
one of them was a famous movie star. It was
sure.
Josephine Baker, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Hey, those things are great. And they're really like, those are fantastic crime novels. Yeah, he's amazing. Have you read those, the Maigret books? And
Oh, I love them. Yes, I read
aren't
many.
they great? They're
Yes.
so great. And the non-Maigret things are really good too. So
I
good.
haven't read them yet. I did Someone
Yeah.
made a comment about it, and they were like, "Oh, those are better than the
I
Maigret."
actually think they're better. Yeah. It's funny. Lots of times with people who write a series thing, I think the non-series things are often better. And a lot of time I feel like the series ones are ones they wrote because they knew they could make money with them.
Yeah.
It's like the Patricia Highsmith books, the Ripley books that everybody loves. They're okay. They're not as good as her other books, which
Mhm.
I think didn't make much money, but the Ripley books did, which is why she sort of wrote a series of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maigret is great. Those are great. Those are really great.
What about the hard-boiled era, like Mickey Spillane and stuff like
Mickey
that?
Spillane's amazing. I love Mickey Spillane. Again, there's a guy that's like better than I think anybody actually gives him credit for,
Mhm.
and they're insane. They're really insane.
Yeah.
And the more like crazy, like anti-communist they get as they go along, the better they are. Like they get really, I really like those though. I think they're great. I
Yeah.
think they're great. Man,
He's he's such a character. Do you remember the Bud
yeah.
Light commercials that he was
Sure.
doing? Yeah,
Sure. Sure. I mean, he really was like, he was a real figure in the world. I mean, what a ridiculous guy. But didn't he start out writing like Superman comics or something?
Mhm.
He was a comic
Yeah.
book writer or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's
that's what the
wild.
Mike Hammer character was supposed to be, was a comic book version of it, of
Yeah.
the, private detective.
Amazing. Oh, this makes me think, have you read the Modesty Blaze books, the Peter O'Donnell, any of those?
I don't. I have them, but I haven't read them yet. I know everyone says they're so awesome.
Amazing. They're way better than the James Bond books, which I like the James Bond books, but they're way better. Like, oh my God, they're great. Those are fantastic. I have one of those actually sitting somewhere around here. Those are fantastic. Yeah, I recommend those. Yeah.
I got let's see. Do you know, it's only because we like crazy things.
Yes.
Have you ever read any of E. Howard Hunt's books?
Oh, I've never read any of them. I've never read it. Amazing. Are they any good? Are they
I
like?
love them.
Are,
Love. I can't
that's
believe it.
fantastic. I bet. That's the thing. I bet they're good. I bet they're actually kind of great.
The
All
main
right.
character is not a private detective. Do you know what he does for a living?
No, what is he?
He's a CPA. He does. He's a tax accountant solving
That's
murder mysteries.
amazing. That's fantastic. All right. Now I have to read. All right. I have to. That's really funny, man.
Oh, dude,
I forgot that he wrote those. I forgot he wrote spy novels, and they're good. Okay.
well,
good.
that's the detective. I have one of his spy novels here in the spy pile.
Oh, great. Have you read those?
Oh yeah,
And they're good. And they're worth reading. You're telling me they're worth it.
Fan, yes.
You're an E. Howard Hunt fan.
He-
Did he write as E. Howard Hunt, or did he write?
No,
as
he
his
wasn't
name?
allowed. Did you see that? I think it was on HBO. It was like Woody Harrelson, the plumbers, the White House
The thing about George G. Gordon Liddy and
E. Howard Hunt.
Did he play E. Howard Hunt?
Yeah, Woody Harrelson did, and it's like they talk about the books, but just briefly, where the wife is typing it up, and his son comes up. He's like, does anybody actually read Dad's books? And she's like, I just type them.
That's really funny.
I was like,
That's
oh, this
really
is
funny.
great.
That's really funny. All right, I'll check those out. That's a good recommendation. Thanks.
And then after he's like in jail and stuff, and she comes in, he's like, I got good news. They said I'm allowed to publish under my own name now. I just really hope that was true. Like that was like word
I bet
for
it
word.
is. That sounds like a kind of thing that's probably pretty true.
Yeah,
that's so funny. All right, I'll check those out. I'll definitely check those out. Excellent. Thank you.
And then I was maybe like a little bit later. Do you like Lawrence Block?
Oh yeah, he's great. Yep, those are great. I mean, in terms of like spy stuff like that, Len Dayton is a really great one, and and I used to love the Robert Ludlum books, which those are something. Did you ever read any of those Robert Ludlum books? Oh my God, The Bourne Identity and all those things, and it's like those are funny because I look at those. They're all like 900 pages, and it's like when I was 13, I used to blow through those things, and now I start reading them, and I'm like, they're not that great. Like I bet E. Howard Hunt is better actually than Robert Ludlum. But yeah, the spy stuff. There's a guy named Manning Coles that I really like. There's a guy.
That was a private detective, though, wasn't it? I thought he was like a private.
Yeah, they're kind of like mysteries, but he's a spy, and it's like they get a little bit spyish. Can't remember the guy's name. Tommy something is the name of the character. Then there's a bunch. What the hell was the guy's name? You know what are good? Are the Adam Hall books, the Quiller books? Have you ever read any of those?
Oh, I don't even.
Those are good spy. Those are great, and he wrote a million of those. And there's always like an endless car chase at some point in one of the books that are really described great. There's like a crazy like car chase, or there's like a helicopter chase or something, and they're described really great. And it's like, and so Adam Hall, I used to really like those. Spy novels are interesting because it's like there's a guy who's really good. Oh, anyway, keep going. I'm going to look this guy up because I actually think he's better. There's spy novels. There's what's his name, the smiley guy,
Le Carre.
Yeah, who I actually don't love. I know
it's very serious. I tried to read one and I was like, I feel like I'm in someone's office. Like it's very bureaucratic. I was like, this is not fun.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a drag. Yeah,
I did like the movie that they made.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, that's good.
The TV show was great. The Alec Guinness TV shows were great. God damn it, what is this guy's name? He's better than
the spy.
It'll come to me. There's a guy who wrote a bunch of spy novels, and I think they're better than John le Carre, and they're not as well known, and they're a little bit trashier. I can't remember his name. Yeah, they're too high-minded, and it's like I can't enjoy this.
No, Serious isn't good. You know what's funny? I have this spy novel, which is by sci-fi author John Brunner.
Oh, is that good?
Yeah, it is. It is so.
He's great. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's a great writer. Oh, that's cool. And it's just a straight up spy novel. It's not like a.
Yeah,
it's not like a weird like.
Nothing
trippy, weird sci-fi. Nothing.
No, it has like voodoo in it. There's like voodoo. And it has like all this jazz. They're like in Soho.
That sounds awesome. Man, you really find some amazing stuff. That sounds awesome. And that looks like a beautiful copy of it too.
Oh, that's really
nice. It's a great cover.
I forget who did the cover. Maybe Jeff Jones.
That's a great cover. Have you read like Stand on Zanzibar and all that stuff, or The Sheep Look Up?
I've only read his like schlocky earlier science fiction.
Yeah, which is great, actually. That stuff is great. Yeah.
Here's the other E. Howard Hunt, the spy one.
And David St. John. And what that looks great. And what is the story with it? What's it about?
So it's this series. I think there's 13 of them. The Peter Ward series, where he's just a regular spy, right? So he's basically like writing about his life, but publishing it. And towards the end, like the last couple, he's like, I'm gonna make it now this occult spy thing. So like the last 3 are like these black magic occult spy cross.
When's he writing those? Like when is that he's writing them?
I think this is right before he gets arrested.
So it's the early 70s, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's sitting there going, hey, people love all these movies about satanic possession, The Exorcist, and I got to capitalize on that. I love it when those guys are doing it. They're like, hey, I should just like throw Satan in this or something because people are loving that these days. It's really fun. Yeah, the Omen book, the Omen movies and stuff. Well, I better capitalize on that. Right. I got to check those out. That's really funny. That's really, really funny. I can't believe I've never read any of those.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I had randomly bought one. I just thought it was just another detective book.
Yeah.
And then after I read it, I looked it up and I was like, whoa. Like, hold on a second. Like I didn't know when I was reading it, but I was reading it like, this is amazing. And then I had to come to terms with who it was.
I think that only makes it better. That's really funny. That's also what's great with this stuff too, is that you're like, what is this? Who is this? And you start finding out about these people and it's just like, what the? This is amazing. Yeah. Spy stuff. I mean, again, there's so much. And again, like a lot of the stuff I like are really early things. Like I really like these books by this guy, John Buchan, that were all like he wrote the 39 Steps and he wrote all this stuff. So I like some of that stuff, which is all early pulp stuff. And again, it's like so much stuff comes out of these things. And it's like, and sometimes I kind of find that interesting, like the early forms of these things that like all this stuff comes out of, I kind of find interesting sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool to see the trajectory.
Yeah.
Kind of like where it starts with the seeds, you know, like, oh, this is a little bit of that. And I can see where they got the idea later on down the line.
Yeah. I one time when I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life, I thought about like, well, maybe I could teach and go back and get a degree or something. I was like, what am I going to get a degree in? And I was like, maybe I could like write like a history of kind of like detective fiction or something, or spy novels or something. Cause it's cool. It's interesting.
Still like, can.
I suppose I could. I suppose.
Hey, don't forget to include Operation Hang 10, the girl in the telltale bikini.
Wow, that is, oh my God, look at that.
Surfer spy.
Holy cow. And is there like a cult? Is there a crazy, like culty, like cult leader in it?
Yep.
Who is that? Is it?
Who's the author?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Patrick Morgan. I don't know if that's really his name.
And is that a series? Is that
part of Operation Hang 10 is the series.
And it's like, are they like kind of like cool laid back surfer spies?
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's everything you want it to be. Trust me.
Oh my God. Dude, this is like, this is just blowing my mind. They're fantastic. I got to find these things now. I'm going to find these things now.
Yeah.
This is what's also so great. I'm like, you can kind of get stuck in your lane too much, and you forget that E. Howard Hunt is out there in Operation Hang 10, and like Whitlatch. Like you gotta go, like I gotta widen my horizons again.
I do my best, spread the word.
Fantastic.
So let's switch.
What else?
Let's switch over to horror. Do you like horror?
I do. I probably am, again, like not as well versed, Stephen King, James Herbert. Did you ever read much James Herbert?
I haven't. No, I haven't read any at all.
Yeah, you know who he is? He's a British.
Yeah, he was the British Stephen King. That's what they
were. It's actually kind of it's trashier than Stephen King. And it's like, the rats and the spear and the fog. And those, I loved those, and they're really violent, and there's something kind of sleazy about them without them necessarily. And then at a certain point, he became a little bit more kind of highbrow and sort of like.
I have all three of those books.
The rats books, the
ones you just said, all the ones.
Oh yeah, those are all great. The spear was like a big thing for me when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. When I was a kid and I read that book, I remember I found out I was about 12 or 13 years old, and it's about these guys all trying to find. It's got it's horror, but it's also got this kind of conspiratorial thing. They're looking for the spear that was used to pierce the side of Christ. And in actual fact, like Hitler and all those guys were obsessed with stuff like that. So it's about that. It's about all these, like, it's Mossad agents and like British agents, and everybody's going after trying to find the spear. It's great. Yeah. It's great. And he was great. I actually really liked him a lot. Like I said, like I actually like a lot of Dean Koontz stuff and the Peter Straub stuff. And I mean, there's a guy named John Williamson, I think his name is, that I read a bunch of. Have you ever seen this guy?
J.N. Williamson.
J.N. Williamson, yeah. I read a lot of those. There was a crazy one.
How'd you feel?
What's that?
How'd you feel about them?
kind of dirty after I'd read them, a little soiled. There was a really weird one with like a Bigfoot on like a spaceship, and that's really strange and kind of porny and like really, yeah. And so, but those were something that I remember, yeah, being into when I was a kid.
Yeah, you should read one now.
Yeah. Are they just terrible?
They're, you know what, they have their moments, but for the most part, they're pretty boring.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, like in the 80s, man, they just made those fat books, and they just, I don't know, to fill out the page count.
But that's what I mean about that's what I mean about the Robert Ludlum thing when I read it now. I'm like, how the hell did I blow? And those I blew through. How the hell did I blow through these when I was 13? Mm-hmm. Like, how did I keep going? Because I can't now. They're boring. Oh, and it's like, yeah, that's what the Robert Ludlums are like. They're boring. That's interesting because I think about those F. Paul Wilson books, The Keep and all those things. You ever read any of those? I wonder what those are like now to read, whether those are really boring or not. I don't know. Yeah. You know, but I liked stuff like that.
What about way back? Do you like have you ever read the John W. Campbell Who Goes There?
Yes, those are great. And that's like, yeah, you go back. I mean, again, Darker Than You Think is really kind of a horror novel. You know, and for sure, and that's all that sort of like Algernon Blackwood. And oh, you know what's great? I have him sitting right here, who wrote some really good sort of horror stuff. Is Fritz Leiber actually wrote some great. Do you ever read any of these?
I've only read one Fritz Leiber, and it didn't go well.
What was it?
A Spectre's Haunting Texas.
Oh, that's a weird book. That's a really weird book. Yeah. But yeah, he wrote some good. It's not Conjure Wife. It's
he wrote Conjure Wife.
He did write Conjure Wife, but it's not Conjure Wife. It's the other one. Is it called like Burn Witch Burn or something like that? I can't remember, but it's really great. It's kind of a famous one, and it's set in San Francisco, and it's actually kind of great. Yeah, some of his stuff I like. I don't know. With horror stuff, it's like, gosh, I don't know. Like I say, all that like Algernon Blackwood, and I like ghost story stuff. I like M.R. James, and there's a guy who, one of the only sort of contemporary people I read is a guy named Reggie Oliver, who's still alive. He's a British guy, and his stuff is published. I think it's Tartarus Press. Have you ever seen Tartarus? Which is like, they've published like stuff like this. Yeah. You know, like Strange Stories, Arthur Machen, and they republish a lot of this stuff. Oh, okay. A guy named Sarban, who I really like, who wrote a book called The Sound of His Horn, which is a really weird thing about if the Nazis won the Second World War, but it's kind of a horror novel.
As really it should be.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. Thank you. Yes, that's true. But Reggie Oliver is a guy that if you want to read contemporary stuff, it's really good. And they're sort of ghost story-ish, but I really like ghost stories and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I do too. I collect. Do you know the Paperbacks from Hell? That book that came out that shows all the old.
80s. Yeah, those are great. That's related to Valancourt, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, they've been republishing some.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah.
So I was those kind of off, you know, the books that like Riptide, that they had like one book, two books. That's what I mostly read for the horror. Yeah. But then there's like Night Train. Have you ever? This guy's
that's great. Yeah, that's good. That's a great book. Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. That's a really good book. Yep. I liked that book a lot. Yep.
And then have you ever read like Guyan Smith, The Sucking Pit?
No, I don't think so. He's not the guy. I don't think so. No, that's reminding me of something. I can't remember. It reminds me. No, I don't think I have. Is it good?
Oh yeah. He wrote the Crab series.
Like giant crabs. Like fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's pure schlock. And then I got some like Weird Tales authors writing into the 80s here, still alive.
Who is that?
QB Cave.
Oh, amazing. That's cool. Oh, what's the guy's name? T.E.D. Klein. Have you ever read any of those? That guy's Ted Klein.
No, but I have.
Those are good. And I used to like those Ox Run books that were kind of the guy, I can't remember what his name was. He was sort of
Like it was a series?
Yeah, he wrote a series, and they're kind of Ray Bradbury-ish and sort of Stephen King-ish, and I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was called Oxrun, is the town where all this stuff happens. Those are kind of fun.
Was it Night
Those
Hunter?
are great. No. You read Joe Lansdale? Have you ever read any of those things?
I have not.
Oh.
I have it.
Yeah. Let's see. Man, same here. Like I have that a lot where I'm like, I have stuff, but I haven't read it.
What about, I think this guy right here, very important, Richard Matheson.
Oh yeah, those are great. Yeah, yep. And his stuff, he kept writing stuff and weird stuff as it went along. What's that? 7 Steps to Hell or something? What's it called? It's like he wrote a great war novel actually called the Beardless Ones, I think it's called. That's about the Second World War. That's actually really good. Kind of autobiographical thing about the Second World War.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's what we were saying. Those dudes are all in like
they're all in the war.
Soldiers.
Yeah. He's great. That Charles Beaumont guy who also did all those Twilight Zone things. Some of his stuff is kind of cool. Yeah, his stuff is interesting too. Trying to think of what other horror people there are that I like. Yeah, you should read The House on the Borderland and stuff because those are really, really great.
Mm-hmm. Do you like Silver John? Manly Way.
Those are great. Those are great too. Yes, I do like those. Those are really cool. Those are cool. Kind of like folksy horror, Appalachian horror kind of stuff.
They're
really cool. Kind of H.P. Lovecraft, like Appalachia. Like, yeah, those are cool. I haven't read one of those in a long time, but those are really great. Yeah. There's a guy named L.P. Davies. Was that his name? It's coming to me, who wrote these very peculiar, it's a little like those John Blackburn books, these weird kind of sci-fi horror things that are kind of interesting. Yeah. What else? What's next? What other genre?
Our next is one that you seem to think highly of. Is science fiction.
Yeah, that's just a lot there. Like I don't even know where to start with that.
I know very little, so go.
Really? Oh, jeez. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's like that's just like kind of endless. I mean, Philip K. Dick was you should just read Philip K. Dick if you've never read any Philip K. Dick. You really ought to. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I just showed you Jack Vance is great. And like, oh my God, there's so many of those guys. And it's like Robert Silverberg, who wrote porn, who wrote like softcore porn in the Star Wars. It's like reissued a lot of those things. He wrote so much. His stuff is great. His stuff is still really holds up and it's worth it. And he spans the time from like the kind of old school great stuff to almost now. Mm-hmm. And it's like, he's worth reading. And then I showed you James White, and this guy's great. Olaf Stapledon was a great sort of like really weird sci-fi writer. Oh my God. The Berserker books. These are great. The Berserker books, Fred Saberhagen. These are great about these like, just like psychotic robotic spaceships. I mean, it's like, this is kind of endless. I mean, science fiction, I wouldn't even know really where to begin. But over all of it, you really ought to read like Philip K. Dick. If you haven't, you really should. Because I mean, talk about a guy who just sat there banging out books, and it was like, just out of his mind and just like cranking stuff out, but it's kind of amazing stuff. Oh man,
Silverberg is the one that I've read the most of.
Oh yeah, really? Mm-hmm. He's great. He's a really good writer.
I've read his Juvenile Delinquent. I've read his Sleaze. I actually have a men's adventure collection of him over here.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah. And that's incredible. He's still alive. Yeah. I've actually corresponded with him a little bit because for one reason or another, and that's all his stuff. That's so funny. That's awesome. I mean, now he's another one of these guys. It's like, I don't think they can even calculate how much he actually wrote. Because it's like, do you like Harlan Ellison? Are you a Harlan Ellison guy?
Yeah.
I like Harlan Ellison.
Once again, I read his Juvenile Delinquent.
Yeah, those are great. That stuff is great.
It's so cool because he like went undercover. He like joined this real street gang. Harlan Ellison in the street gang in old school New York. Like he's in the Wanderers. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, he's great. I really like his stuff too. Harlan Ellison and R.A. Lafferty I really like, which is very weird stuff. And Cordwainer Smith was a guy that I really like. And there's just so many. I mean, Octavia Butler, I like. It's like, that's just endless. I could go on and on and on and on and on. That's science fiction. And there's lots of it, and lots of it's bad. And it's like, I was going to ask you earlier. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you about earlier. Have you ever read the Gore books? Any of the John Norman Gore books?
No, I haven't. I got them, but I haven't read one yet.
So do I. Well, that's a real case of you've read one, you've basically read them all.
Yeah.
And they're just, again, there's a way in which they're almost better than they have any right to be, and then they're just terrible. They just go on and on and on. And he's still alive, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's still alive, which is crazy to think of. And I think there are people who are really into those books. It's like a whole kind of like subset of people who are subset with the Gore books.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. But I always plug James White because people don't read him enough, and he's really great. He's kind of a really great. There was a guy I loved named James Hogan who I used to really like until I found out he was a Holocaust denier. And now I can't really read him. It's not quite the same anymore.
Yeah.
Look back at those. I used to love those. There's a weird writer named Robert Forward that I liked who wrote a thing called Dragon's Egg, and these weird sort of very kind of, I used to like kind of hard science fiction too.
Oh yeah.
It made me feel smarter. I felt like, I actually understand all this physics and stuff like that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you understand?
I don't think I actually did. I think I'd have a moment of thinking I did, and then it was gone. So.
Yeah, I read The Black Cloud, the Fred Hoyle.
That's great. That's a great book. Yeah.
I know. I can't.
Fred Hoyle. Fred Hoyle wrote some great ones, though. There's other really great Fred Hoyle books. Yeah, he was an interesting guy. He didn't believe in the Big Bang.
Yeah, he made it up. Yeah. He was like, it was a mocking term.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, is that right?
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, sci-fi is endless. And Ursula K. Le Guin, like I said, that was kind of like a gateway thing for me, was Lathe of Heaven and her stuff, which is pretty great.
Okay. Well, how about action and adventure? We've touched on that.
Alistair MacLean and him, and then there was a guy named Desmond Bagley. Did you ever see any of those? Mm-hmm. They had great covers on those books. And they were always about like, there's an oil well that's on fire, and these guys have to go in and like tamp down the oil well and stuff like that. There was a lot of that. There was a lot of like, they're having to fly like a shipment of, TNT into a hurricane and stuff, like those kinds of things. And they had great covers, and they were really like Desmond Bagley. Yeah. I loved all the like the Hornblower books and stuff like that. Those kind of like sailing things. I loved stuff like that. Those were great. There was a guy named Dudley Pope who wrote kind of trashy ones of those that I remember I really liked. Did you ever read the Sharp books? The Sharps, any of those, like the Napoleonic War books?
No.
Those are kind of good. Those are actually surprisingly trashy. Stuff like that. But so Alistair MacLean for me, but that was the thing. Yeah. Those were the best. Breakheart Pass, which is a great Charles Bronson movie that I remember going and seeing, and Guns of Navarone and all those kinds of things, Where Eagles Dare. And again, those are the movies too that were such a big part of my life too.
Yeah. What were you talking about? The car chases in the Puppet on a String, the boat chase?
Puppet on a chain. Puppet on a chain. Yeah, there's a big boat chase in that. Yeah, there's always stuff like that. Ice Station Zebra. Totally. Ice Station Zebra is like on a submarine. There's like, and Ice Station Zebra is a classic movie too.
Yeah,
I think it was Howard Hughes' favorite movie. Was that the movie that Howard Hughes just watched over and over and over again?
I don't know.
I think it was Ice Station Zebra. But all that kind of stuff, Alistair MacLean is like, but I read those now and I have a hard time reading them. They're kind of boring. They're a little boring. Yeah. And they're weird. They're kind of odd. They're hard to get through. It's really funny. And again, like when I was a kid, I couldn't get enough of them. I would just blow through them really fast, But again, as we were talking about like the Rat Bastards and stuff, and I was mentioning those crazy Sven Hassel books, which I remembered reading, which now are just also kind of weird and like strange, and like what the hell, and those things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I saw some at the half price books. I was like, oh, maybe I should get them. Do I really want these things?
Yeah.
And then I was like, screw it, I'm going back and I'm getting them. And then I got there and they were the other guy, the Leo Kessler.
Yes.
So they weren't the Sven Hassels, they were the Leo Kesslers. Like,
that's right. I forgot there was the other guy. There was the Sven Hassel knockoff guy.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Like low red
Diet
Sven. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I love stuff like action adventure. You know, it was great. Again, if you want to go old school, the Raphael Sabatini books, all the Seahawk and Captain Blood and stuff, those are great. And also, I was going to mention earlier, there are these things called the Fantomas books, which are these French pulp novels about a master criminal that are really great. They're really fast to read, and they're just like this master of disguise. And they're all about like trying to catch this guy nobody ever can. And he's like, you know.
So is it like a pulp hero, like the Shadow? Or
something? These were like turn of the century, 19th, early 20th century, and they still, I think, are kind of popular in France. And in the 60s, they made these weird kind of campy movies out of them, but they're like kind of early James Bondish kind of things too, and they're really weird. They're kind of trippy and weird and very pulpy, really trashy. Yeah, they're great. Fantomas, those are really great. Yeah.
Do you like Men's Adventure? Do you like The Butcher?
I know of The Butcher, but I have never read The Butcher. The Terror Truckers. Look at God, that's beautiful.
Isn't it?
Look at that. My God. That's fantastic. And those kinds of, that kind of cover, those kind of painting, there's the explosion down here and the guys like, they're just fantastic. That whole genre of painting of those covers for adventure, things like that, which is great. And like the movie posters for things like that. That's a really, that particular kind of genre of like painting is just great.
Yeah, and you know what's happening. You know what's going to happen with a cover like that.
You sure do. You sure do.
This one has the unique distinction of taking place in Dayton, Ohio, where I live, which is like, it's just a terror, a trucker story from The Butcher taking place in Dayton, Ohio.
Fantastic. I was like, now from the 70s, like
The Butcher.
That got to be 70s, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's like the trucking phase. He's capitalizing on the whole sort of CB radio, like convoy trucker thing, which is great.
Speaking of capitalizing on stuff, Ninja Master.
Oh, I know those. I think I remember reading some of those. There was also a Black Ninja series too.
Black Samurai.
Yeah, those were great. Yeah, I remember reading those, and I was really into those. Yeah, those are great. Those are great.
This has the Chad Deal. This has the model that I talked to. I interviewed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, amazing. How was that? Was he a cool guy?
Oh, he's very cool. He's an old surfer. It's like I have the guy from the Surfer Spy book.
He's the Hang 10. And is he just had a good life and everything?
Oh, he's the happiest. He will. If you watch that, he just fills you with joy. He's amazing. Just like such a pleasant person.
Awesome.
He's so excited.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. That's awesome to hear. Something I just got reminded of too. Oh, the Shaft books. The Shaft books are pretty good. I remember reading the Shaft books, which I sort of liked, and those are pretty trashy too, but those are good. I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote them, but they were good.
Yeah, that was something we skipped over. Did we talk about the Holloway house? Like
we didn't. And I was just thinking about like Chester Himes and about all this stuff and the Donald Goines and all that stuff. And those guys are great. The Holloway. And so that's like Iceberg Slim and those guys. Yeah. I loved that stuff too. Yeah. Loved the Donald Goines books, which somebody's republished those again. I think there's some new editions of those or something.
Yeah, the Kensington House owns the rights to it.
Yeah, I saw.
They keep it in publication.
Yeah, and I thought, I should read one of those because I have not read one of those in God knows how long.
They're one of a kind.
They're pretty great.
Oh, yeah, they are. They're very different. They're very violent.
Yeah,
but violent. And they're real too. So you're like, you gotta go in mentally prepared. Like,
no, those are really violent. And I remember the Chester Himes books are really great. And I remember actually probably within the last 10 or 15 years having this idea of like, why hasn't somebody made like a TV show out of these or something, like a kind of, and those are tied up in some weird thing. They're in some kind of litigation and they're just locked up and you can't get to them.
Wow. That's
which was a bummer. There's some sort of family wrangle and they can't, they're frozen sort of, and you can't touch them, which is too bad because they're really great.
They are. I love Chester Ryan.
Have you read? All right, here's a book that actually is one of my absolute favorite crime novels. It's called The Jones Men by a guy named Vern Smith. Oh, that's that to me. That's like, it's not I mean, it's not trashy. It is, but it's really, really good. The Jones Men. The only book the guy wrote. He was a journalist. He was like a Newsweek journalist. And it's great. That book is awesome. It just is like the best 70s crime movie, that book. Yeah. It's like, The Jones Men. I think the guy's name is Vern Smith. That book is great. That's one of my favorite crime novels I've ever read.
Oh yeah. I'll look it up. I'll put it up on screen.
Jones Men. Yeah.
You like Robert E. Howard?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I loved the Conan stuff. I loved the Solomon Kane books.
Yeah.
Those I almost liked those more than Conan.
I do. Yeah.
Those were cool. Those are strange. I was like, this is weird. Mm-hmm. Like he's like this Puritan guy, swordsman, and he's in like Africa and stuff. It's very weird. Yeah. Very weird.
It's kind of like the Silver John. It's kind of like
that's right.
It's kind of religious.
Yes.
Horror.
Yeah. Weird religious horror. Like what the hell? Historical kind of, strange. Yeah, I really liked those. Those were great. Yep, I do like him.
The Robert E. Howard Foundation has been putting out his collections here, and they just put out the Sailor Steve Costigan book.
Amazing.
It's just like fist fights, like the sailor.
Fantastic. That's awesome. I'm so happy people are putting out nice editions of things like that.
Oh, it's very nice.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Did you ever read like much Edgar Rice Burroughs? Did you ever read like Tarzan or?
I've only read one. It was the one that they made the movie, and it had Doug McClure in it.
I don't think I even realized there was a book about that, a movie made of one of those.
Yeah. And
those are great. I like those. And the Mars books, the early ones, are bananas. They're really great. Yeah.
No, it was amazing. Yeah, I can't believe I can't remember the title.
Because the Earth's core or something.
There it is. There it is.
The Earth's core. There's a Tarzan where he goes into the Earth's core too.
Yeah, like a crossover, right?
Didn't he? He did a bunch of things like that. Yeah, he did things like that. He's great. Those are better than you think they're going to be. And Tarzan is great. The first one is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get a little crappier as they go along, but
all right, we got like a couple more. Are you still in?
Absolutely.
Still in? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So we did touch on the Sleaze here. So we got some more hit. I got like an original here.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
What's funny about this is the blurb on the back is not for the story inside.
Really?
That's how low rent the publisher is.
It's got nothing to do with it. It's the wrong book. It's the wrong thing. That's fantastic though. The design on the back, actually, that like shattery thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. It's really funny. It has nothing to do with it. That's great. Of course.
Yeah, it's the wrong story.
That's a beautiful copy, man.
Yeah.
Where'd you find that?
This was at the Bookery here in Dayton, Ohio.
And what did that cost you? Like, is that pricey for you, or is that like?
It's like $5.
That's amazing, and it's in really nice condition. It looks like.
Yeah, the guy who owns the store, he writes the pulp price guide. It's called Bookery's Guide to Pulps. That just came out. I actually interviewed him on the channel, but his prices are so awesome, and it's a very curated store. Like everything exists.
That's what I mean about that place that doesn't exist in LA anymore. Bookfellows. They are online now, but it was very curated, beautiful condition books, and not expensive. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't understand how you're doing this, but okay. It was like, why not? Yeah. That's cool. I got to come to Dayton and check that out. That looks amazing.
That'd be cool. Yeah. We actually have a lot of stores here.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a later Ori hit that's more like it has like a 1-900 number on the back. Torrid Winch.
Wow, that's a bananas cover. What a weird cover. Fantastic. Is it a painting? It's really odd. It looks like it's
Yeah, that's a painting.
yeah. Wow. It's got a 1-900 number on the back.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Mm.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Isn't it funny? What's funny is that whoever bought this thinking that it was something like this, it was probably very disappointed.
Right, exactly. I was just going to say, what's really funny is it's not delivering any of that.
No, the Sleaze, is very, very soft core. It's not core at all, actually.
No, it's not even really core. It's like these weird sort of novels about these kind of weird guys just wandering through their weird lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's really funny. Those are amazing. That's awesome.
Do you enjoy Cherry Delight?
I don't. I mean, I've heard of Cherry Delight, but oh my god, that's beautiful. Look at that. That's fantastic.
That was written by Gardner F. Fox.
What's that?
Gardner F. Fox wrote those. The comic book. The comic book.
Yeah. Are they good?
They're my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Top favorite. And it's kind of sleazy modesty blaze. Like, is it kind of like?
No, it's like the Executioner, but so she's after the mafia. She works for NYMFO, which stands for the New York Mafia Prosecution and Harassment Organization.
Genius.
That tells you everything, right?
Genius. Genius. Fantastic.
So we don't need to dwell too much in the Sleaze.
No, you're ahead of me with that. That one, I mean, right there. Right there. I mean, Ori Hit's the only, I mean, I have read some of those because of Starkhouse.
Yeah.
It's like, but other than that, I mean, like some of the Robert Silverbergs and stuff like that I read. And like I said, well, I did read some of the Long Arm books. I mean, I did read some of those.
Yeah.
Somewhere I have those still.
I know. I wish I would have pulled some out. They're like all boxed up, but
that's
the covers on those are hilarious.
Hilariously weird.
Puns and sexual innuendos are just
everything's just like the guy's got like a tomahawk that's like, it's just like
we covered fantasy, but you said you weren't really into
huge fantasy guy. I mean, like the closest stuff with fantasy for me is like, these are great. And actually this whole series of things I really like. But this Clark Ashton Smith, and it's like this is a great series. That's kind of the most fantasy I would get to, and it's not even really fantasy, would be like kind of maybe Robert E. Howard or Clark Ashton Smith or something. I read the Tolkien books when I was younger. I was never that into like fantasy stuff. There's a series of books by a guy named Mervyn Peake that I remember reading, the Gorman Gast books. That was like, those are from like the 40s, and those are kind of fantasy books, but I was never like elves and trolls and stuff like that. I was not that big on, but you were because of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I read the Dragonlance Chronicles and stuff.
Right. I'm trying to think. I mean, I can remember reading some of those like, those Anne McCaffrey, the Dragon Planet books. Yeah. Those were kind of cool. I remember liking those. The Pern, was that what they were? The flying dragon things. So. And yeah, those, those were cool. But I don't know, fantasy for some reason, I don't know. It never quite grabbed me in the same way. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because it's like, it's the one sort of genre I don't really have much acquaintance with.
Yeah, I liked it a lot when I was younger, but every time I try to read it now, I'm not that impressed. I'm not that into it. I shouldn't say I'm not impressed. I'm just not into it.
No, that's me too. It's like I'll try and I'm always like, I can't for some reason get too deep into this. I'm trying to think of any that I read that I liked more recently. No, not really. There was a guy as a sci-fi writer I really liked, like Clifford Simak, who wrote kind of fantasy-ish stuff as he went along, because he was trying to capitalize on like, well, the kids like to read about elves and dwarves. I should stop writing about spaceships. And so he starts like, but they're still sci-fi-ish actually, and they're weirder. And so I like those, but then I don't really think of them as fantasy. They're more like science fiction. So, yeah.
I have this theory that whatever we want the story to be that's the genre it is. Like
Right.
if you go back and read Weird Tales, someone's like H.P. Lovecraft was the first sci-fi whatever. I'm like,
No, it's true. That's actually
he's
really good.
horror. Don't you?
No, that's a really, no. That's actually really, that's true. That's really smart, actually. That makes a lot of sense. And I think that's true. And a lot of the stuff we're talking about anyway bleeds into different things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it all sort of overlaps in weird ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever? I do like Sword and Sorcery, which is sometimes lumped in with fantasy. Have you ever read the Charles Saunders Imaro?
Yes, those are great. Actually, now you're reminding me, I have read those, and those are great. Yes, those are fantastic. Yep, those are really good, and those are a little bit like they're playing on Tarzan too, in a really good way. And like those are great. I haven't read those in a long time. That reminds me too of Samuel R. Delaney as a favorite science fiction writer of mine. But those are great. Yep.
What I did I did a video and I did it on Charles R. Saunders, and he said that he really liked Conan and he wanted a Conan type character, and then he went to the movies and saw Tarzan, and he was just he was like this white guy in Africa kicking ass, and he was like, screw that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, went home and wrote Imaro.
Yeah, those are great. Those are really good. Those are really forgotten too, which is weird. Did he do much other than those?
No. He's got like some short stories, and he wrote this like boxing pulp hero thing later on. Like he was like done, right? Someone finds him in Canada and they're like, hey, you're Charles R. Saunders. And he's like, yeah, okay. And so he starts kind of writing again, and he wrote this like this boxing pulp based on the real Joe Louis fight when he fought Max Schmeling in World War II. Wow. But he made it like the Shadow, like he was like a black pulp hero.
Wow, that's cool.
It came out like in 2007, I think.
Really? Wow, that sounds good. Have you read it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Damballa. That's the name of it. Damballa.
That sounds really cool. Oh, I have to check that out. I'll check that out. Actually, Fritz Leiber wrote a bunch of sort of swords and sorcery. I mean, he's like the Gray Mouser and all those things. I actually like those. Have you read those?
No, I haven't.
Those are good.
Yeah, my friend Tim's always telling me to.
Yeah, I think you'd like those if you like that stuff. I think of those as one. They're a little bit like Robert E. Howard. They're similar to like Conan, but they're really good. Those are good. Yeah.
And my ultimate, like my favorite, is Jarrell of Jory. Do you know this?
I've never read any of those. Is that I've never read any of those, and I have a friend who's really into those.
Yeah,
and is always telling me to read her, and saying she's great.
They're wild. They're like sword and sorcery, sort of, but it's also like this weird, like trippy portal stuff where she goes.
They're kind of science fiction-y, right? They're a little bit sort of like sci-fi-ish.
I would probably, you're asking me who didn't like the sci-fi section. I think that they're more like horror. I think that she goes she goes down into hell, and it's like this weird nightmare realm.
Yeah. Never read any of her, but I know that people really love her. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, for some reason it makes me think of this guy. I don't know if he's a science fiction guy. These are really pulpy and weird and like kind of terribly written, but the ideas in them are really cool. They're really trippy. They're like the most ineptly written thing. It's like a child wrote them. and like but the ideas in them are great, and if you can kind of deal with how not great the writing is, they're sort of amazing.
Sometimes all you need is that good idea. I mean,
yes, a lot of science fiction is like that, because a lot of it's not great, the writing, but the ideas carry you through. Yeah. See more, but that's a good one, because I have a friend who's really into her.
Yeah, she's the man. I love this. I
think I have a collection of hers that's all like some thing about they're like Mars. They're all set on Mars or something. I have some big fat collection of things at home.
Is it the Northwest Smith stories that they like? I think George Lucas based Han Solo off of Northwest.
Maybe. Yeah.
I thought I'd grabbed it, but no. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And she reminds me of you talk about that. That Cordwainer Smith who I mentioned before, who wrote these very weird sci-fi stories you might actually find interesting. They're almost not like sci-fi. They're set so far in the future that it's kind of like almost fantastical and like fantasy or something. It's like they're pretty cool. Anyway, I don't know why I'm thinking of him, but something you just said reminded me of him, but I don't know what it was. Anyway.
I like the sci-fi that takes place here on Earth.
Yeah,
and it's more like different versions of our Earth, maybe, or some weird.
Yeah.
More so.
No, and I like the alternate like the Roman Empire never fell kind of thing. I like that stuff.
Oh, like the historic alternate history.
I like stuff like that. The South won the Civil War and stuff like that. I like those kinds of things.
So last on our list is the Westerns. Do you know much about Westerns?
I enjoy Westerns, and it's like, and my dad was into Westerns. My grandfather was really into Westerns, and he used to read a lot of Louis L'Amour and Max Brand and stuff like that. And I can remember reading those when I was a kid. And I like Westerns. I like Western movies too. So I read a lot of that, and a lot of the classic, like Louis L'Amour and Max Brand, and even what's his name, who's kind of hard to read. And again, like I try to read them now. Zane Grey. I try to read those now, and it's just like I can't get through them. But I blew through them when I was a kid. There's a guy I really like named Elmer Kelton, who wrote a lot, and some of them are kind of pulpier and almost like Louis L'Amour, and then some of them are better than that. Elmer Kelton is really great, and I still like to read his stuff. Harry Whittington actually wrote a lot of really great Westerns, really good, and they're more kind of like they're kind of darker. They're kind of like these kind of they're almost like the noir thing in Western. And it's like, and he wrote a lot of those, and I like those. That Donald Hamilton guy wrote some. I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote it, but the book of the movie The Shootist, which was John Wayne's last movie, that book I can't remember his name, The Shootist. That book is amazing. That book is great. It's really violent. And a lot of the Westerns are really violent. But I do enjoy reading Westerns still. Yeah, that guy Elmer Kelton is really great. And the thing with him that I always remember that I liked about his books is that it's like one of his books, a guy early on the book gets pistol whipped by a guy like pistol whips him and hits him with the butt of his gun. And for the rest of the book, the guy is messed up from it. It's not like he recovers from it. For the rest of the book, the guy can't quite. He's a little bit off for the rest of the book. So it's stuff like that in that guy's books that I really like. That it's like his head hurts for the rest of the book, and it's like and his judgment is off because he got hit so hard in the head, and it's stuff like that I really like about that guy. He's great actually. I really like him.
Yeah, I like I've read a few Westerns, and I found that some of them are kind of like wholesome. Maybe like they think that the people who are writing them are maybe more American, middle America, and don't want to see like crazy violence. And then there's the outlaw ones that are like very.
No, I know what you mean. There's a definite kind of, some of them. Elmer Kelton maybe shades a little bit into that there's a kind of like good, clean American thing, but then not too. And it's like, but I know what you mean. It's an interesting genre in that way. But in some of it, like I say, like the Harry Whittington ones are cool. Like they're like noir Westerns. There's a bunch of those, and I can't remember if some of them. And Starkhouse has actually put some of those out. Arno was a guy named Arno Hall. I think I read ones in Starkhouse that were pretty good. I think that might be his name.
Yeah, that's
that right. Is his name something like that? Yeah, and I read some of those.
What about the Edge? What about the Edge series, the Piccadilly Cowboys?
Oh yeah, I think I've read. Wow, you're reminding me that I think maybe I've read one of those or some of those. Yeah, that's familiar sounding, at least to me. I don't know if I've read them.
Because it was like in the U.S. they added the adult Western. But in the UK, they were like, no, we're going to make this ultra violent.
Yes. I have read some of those, I think. Yes. Yeah, I forgot about those. Weird. Yeah, and then like you say, then Long Arm. Of course, Long Arm. Can't get enough of Long Arm. And that guy, like I said, I think that guy is a guy named Lou Cameron, who then actually wrote some other good stuff. Have you ever read any of those William P. McGivern books? The guy who wrote The Big Heat and stuff like that. He wrote a ton of books. Big Heat's a great movie and a great book. he's a really great crime writer too. It just occurs to me. Yeah, but yeah, I enjoy westerns. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I just the adult westerns.
Yeah, sure.
That's about all I know.
Sure. Why
I read
not?
one Louis L'Amour.
Yeah, they were okay. Louis L'Amour's okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're not great. The Max Brand ones are a little bit more kind of like fun. They're pretty trashy.
I was surprised that I enjoyed westerns because it was nothing that I was interested in, like growing up. Were you interested in it, like as a
Did
kid?
I enjoy watching them? Yeah, I did
Yeah,
kind of. And again, I think it's a nostalgia thing too. My father was really into westerns, and like I said, my grandfather was really into westerns. And I think I was really into those, Clint Eastwood, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and For a Few Dollars More, and those spaghetti western things like that. I really liked, and Once Upon a Time in the West, and was a crazy one with James Coburn, and it's really great. So I did, and throughout my life, I've gone through periods of getting into them again and watching them. I do like a lot of the movies, Western movies. I really like older Western movies and stuff. There's a guy named Bud Bedecker who made these kind of B Westerns that are really great. All of them fantastic, great kind of low budget Westerns are really great.
Yeah, I didn't know about any of that stuff when I was a kid. The ones that I knew were just the ones on TV, and they would just make me fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. I remember as a kid, I'd watch Big Valley, and it was almost like I watched it to like fall asleep. It would just be like there was something so boring about Big Valley. Yeah, and but I do like Gunsmoke. I loved, and like I still the whole kind of nerdy side thing that we haven't talked about. And there's no reason for us to. Is that I actually love like a lot of old radio stuff. Like I love listening to The Shadow and those kinds of things. And the old Gunsmokes are great. The old Westerns on radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never listened to those. I actually have a lot of the vinyl of they put later on.
Sure.
But I love like Suspense and like the Whistler and the
Lights Out and stuff
Lights
like
Out,
that.
yes.
Yeah. There's a great Western series called Fort Laramie that had Raymond Burr in it. And that's great. Those are really great. It's kind of dark and came a little later than Gunsmoke. And speaking of Raymond Burr, a whole other thing that I love are the Perry Mason things.
The books or the show?
The books. The show I love too, but the books are great. Yeah, the books are awesome.
That's what's funny. I have the screen print business, and I got this email, and this guy's like, "I have this small order. Can you do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And he sent the art, and it was just like Perry Mason Society. It was like his club. There was this local club called the.
Oh, that's amazing! That's awesome.
Oh, I was so excited.
That's really awesome. I just heard something like that. That's awesome. I'm so glad that exists.
Right?
That's really, totally. It's
That's
great to know. But that's what you're saying. It's like, in some ways, I don't know. Like it's always been this kind of self-involved thing for me. But it's like it's great to then hear that, like, oh, great. There's people who still love the Perry Mason books. That makes me happy to hear.
That's how I felt too when that order came through. When he sent that through, I was like, no way.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool,
man. We made it to the end of the list.
We sure did. Yeah. You got a lot of. You're going to winnow this down to 20 minutes?
No, this can be long. The conversations.
You could make multiple episodes out of this one. You could cut it up.
I could, yeah.
Yeah, you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing. Speaking of Samuel R. Delany, these are these weird fantasy stories that he wrote that are these kind of weird semi-porny things, but it's all sort of like messing around with all the sort of like conventions of the fantasy novel stuff. They're interesting. They're kind of weird. He's a weird writer. He's an interesting writer.
There's a
great cover on that thing. It's a great cover. Yeah.
There's this guy called Justin Gifford, and he wrote a book about the Holloway House.
Yeah.
And he is writing a book about Samuel R. Delany. Like that's his next book coming out.
Awesome. He's still around.
Mm-hmm.
He's still around, Sam Delany. And his stuff is cool. The earlier stuff is like Nova is like one of my favorite science fiction books. You're going to read a great, kind of crazy, weird, real 70s science fiction. It's good. Nova.
70s meaning. In what way what does that mean?
70s meaning kind of it's a little bit more like it's playing around with like gender and race, and like it's a little trippier. It's kind of trippier. It's a little bit more like hippie. It's a little darker. It's a little more like, playing around with stuff.
Okay.
It's less, it's good. They're weird. They're very weird. Yeah, kind of trippy. It's part of that new wave science fiction thing that happened. And you have all those guys, and he was part of that when it was like, now we're gonna like take drugs and write science fiction. They were all kind of like, we're not so stuffy anymore. Now
they're cool.
We're cool. We're gonna like write about edgy topics. But he was actually much more of a kind of edgy guy anyway.
Yeah.
So
we're at the end here, and I just want to say thank you so much, Paul, for coming on and doing this.
My pleasure.
One of shit. You like that? Take two.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't just do it like that.
Hey, we're at the end.
Yeah, cool.
Here we are again, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on and agreeing to do this. It's pretty amazing of you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Like I say, I don't, get to talk about this. And listen, you have turned me on to much, like I said, you've widened my horizons, man. I got to get out there and start reading, the Hang 10 mysteries.
Operation Hang 10.
Operation Hang 10.
Don't forget
the psychic guy. Yeah. And E. Howard Hunt. I got to read the E. Howard Hunt.
Yes, you did.
So yeah, this was worth it. This was worth it.
All right. Well, cool. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you later.